It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. I told you guys we'd be back. We are here live for this special broadcast of the Ella Johnson Show, where we're going to talk to my wonderful guest here today, get a little more information about the Alumni Association. We're going to talk about Chitunda's time at County High, her experiences. We're just going to have a conversation. Are you guys ready for that? Yes?
Yes.
They're so excited. They don't know what to do with themselves. But listen, guys, I am, for one, very excited because, like I said, my disclaimer is this. In the broadcast, you have a link to this show today. And if you are interested in being a part of this conversation, you are more than welcome. That's it right there. Click on that link, and you can be right here on the broadcast. Anyone who has something to say, something to add, question, and you want to be on screen, you're not shy about being on screen, click that link, and you'll be right here with us, because I want everyone to have equal opportunity. And I especially want to extend that invitation to the Alumni Association, anyone affiliated with MCHS. This is not a show about bashing. This is a show about getting to the truth so that we can move forward and do what we need to do. Right? We all agree.
Yes.
And if you are coming on this show, you will be respected. These views, or everyone has their own opinion. So I just want to make sure and start with that. But I want to introduce you guys to my guests. First, we have Miss Pamela Green.
Hi.
Isn't she just beautiful? Yes. She's an 1985 graduate of MCHS. She is teaching in Montgomery, and she is actually the founder of the MCHS Alumni Association. Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show.
Good to be here.
Awesome. Then we have LaTanya Watson. LaTanya is an MCHS graduate of 1993. She is the librarian at Monroeville Elementary School. Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show, LaTanya.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then we have Miss Chitunda Howard. Now, Miss Howard is a 92 graduate of J.F. Shields. I wonder if you were there when we used to beat you guys all the time. Yes? No?
Really?
Yes, she's there.
I had to go there, you know, because it's the chili in me. I had to go a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit. Hey, but listen, we all have the same goal, educating our kids, right? So at the end of the day, that's what matters. She's an MCHS teacher and instructional leader from 2004 to 2024. She is currently the Monroe County School Improvement Specialist. Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. So listen, we are going to have a real conversation. I want to thank everybody that is tuning in to the broadcast here live, as well as those who will watch the rebroadcast tonight at 8:30. So welcome. If you are watching from YouTube, please do me a favor and subscribe to the Ella Johnson Show. If you're watching from Facebook, I need you to share this broadcast right now. I want to see comments, questions coming up. Your comment will come up on the screen, and we will do our best to try to address your questions. All right, guys. So I want to start off by talking with Miss Chitunda. Chitunda, you graduated from Shields. How is it that you got involved with County High? Take us through that part first.
Well, I started teaching at J.F. Shields, and I taught there for 7 years. And then I moved to Monroe County High School as a math teacher in 2004. And so I taught for several years. And at the end of the time when I was at County High, I became the assistant principal under Maurice Woody. I've served in that capacity for 8.5 years, and then interim for 2.5.
So how is it that you were interim principal? How did that happen?
Well, Mr. Woody moved to transportation director that
Okay.
last year in 2022, I believe it was, in January. When he transferred to the central office, I was named interim principal in March. They delayed the process for one reason or another. In March, they never advertised for an assistant principal to replace me, so I didn't have any help for that semester. So I remained interim principal for the next school year, 22-23 and 23-24.
So when you say interim, that means you were acting as principal, but you were not the principal. Is that what that means?
Could you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I see there was a delay. You were interim principal. Does that mean you were just acting as a principal, but you were never the actual principal? Is that what it means?
Right.
Okay. Now let's let, because I want to make sure that everybody knows a little bit more about you and your intentions and where you come from. What is it about teaching that excites you? Like why do you do it? What's your motivation behind it?
Well, I've always had a love of passion for math. Mr. Turner was my high school math teacher. So I was honored to come to County High to work and teach math because he was the principal at the time when I came. So I taught under him and under Mr. Wood, and I actually taught classes while I was assistant principal because County High does not earn a full unit of an AP. So you had to be an AP and do something else. So I was an AP and a teacher at the same time. And so I actually became an instruction leader on a dare by Reverend Odom. He dared me to go back to school and get my administrative degree. So he and I went to school together at the same time, along with some other Monroe County teachers. And about a year later, I pursued the position as AP at Monroe County High School and was offered the opportunity to do so.
That's amazing.
My motivation as a leader came from the same thing as I did as a math teacher. I always like to build people and grow people and to see people use what I know, and I could take that and help them to grow and become better. So that's the approach I took as a leader with teachers, students the same. I like to hear what the students have to say and implement some of the things they want to do and some of the changes they like to make into the school, because that's what makes school interesting, make you want to come to school.
Absolutely. Now, with that comes challenges. Did you have any challenges at County High in that capacity?
Oh, definitely. The entire time I was an AP and interim principal, I was faced with challenges primarily from us, mostly female parents, some who did not like how their children were disciplined. I could talk to a parent in a conference and say the same thing Mr. Woody would, and he would come back and they would want to meet with him afterwards, and he would say the same thing. It was, yes, sir, Mr. Woody. So I faced that opposition the entire time. So that was one of the things that helped me become a stronger leader, I believe, because I don't know why, for some reason, Black females tend to not uplift other Black females. So, like I said, that was one of the things that helped me and to see past, what I was there for, because I wasn't sent there to be friends with anybody. I wasn't sent there just to be there. I was sent there to do a job. So I took that seriously
Exactly.
and I took that passionately, and that's what I used to work throughout the years.
Now, did you have the support from the administration? Did you talk to them about your concerns and your issues?
I could say I had support. I would be one of the people, I would say, as a leader, that when I asked to have something done, I asked for something to be changed, I had to say it several times to get it done. Um, and people have their own motives, on why they did things the way they did. But I would never let anything rest that I saw need to be changed.
Amen.
I would keep harping on it until it happened and we saw it come to fruition.
Give me an example. Give me an example of that, Chitunda, a time where you had to keep fighting for get something done.
Okay. Some of the things that we wanted to get done at County High, out of the schools in the school district, was one of the schools that was always seen in a negative light. And I wanted to change that perspective, like I said, by getting the students and the parents more involved. it was difficult to try to get parents on board. Miss Watson herself was one of the parents that helped with the Booster Club when we tried to bring all the boosters back to get the parents involved. We had student organizations where we would talk with the students, make changes, and implement changes in the school, and we would just have to keep working and working and working on things. Unfortunately, my time was cut short, so a lot of the things that I had planned to do after I left, some of them are starting to happen now. One of the pieces, Mr. Woody was instrumental in helping get the track built. So we were very instrumental in trying to use our voice to make sure that track comes to Monroe County High in an effort for all the schools in the district to benefit. Because the idea was for that to be the hub. Monroe County has always gone to other schools to play track. So what happens is when you go to another district, usually they have this gigantic facility and all the other schools share the facilities, share the equipment, but it becomes a means of income for the city, not only because track meets are like over the weekend. They're a couple of days. So it brings revenue in. All the schools can participate, and it takes the pressure off of one school to have to foot the bill of having that event, foot the bill of getting that equipment, everything you need. It can be shared throughout the district. So my thing was when I left, I was really voiceful about where are the plans for the equipment, because once the track comes and once the track is completed, you got to have equipment to have track meets. So now all of that is frozen, and there has been no track meets. The track was completed last year, and we've yet to get any equipment to have track meets for the district.
Wait a minute. Okay. So we went through all this trouble to get a track completed,
Right.
and now we can't have track meets because we don't have equipment.
Right.
And we don't have equipment because,
well, again, it's the vision. And like I said, our vision was to bring all of the schools together to share this burden with the help of the district. Because track equipment is expensive. You have to buy hurdles. You have to have so many things for so many different obstacle courses, certain types of score clocks. All of that has to come into place. But as the track became more evident before it was completed, more and more expenses were accrued based on things that had to be done, had to be rerouted. Other means had to be done with the bathrooms, the water, different things of that nature. So as the bill increased, that we saw the light. There was less and less opportunity for this equipment to be purchased. But
who's your athletic director? Who's your athletic director at Monroe County High School?
The athletic director at the time when I left and when Mr. Woody was Mr. Woody. Now, Mr. Woody was not the athletic the entire time we had football, because the football coach is normally the athletic director, but we had so much transition between the coaches, he just assumed the role in addition to principal, because we didn't have anybody reliable from time to time. But now we also do not have an athletic director for the district, and which is a problem. So that's part of the vision, try to get community and unity among all the schools to get this done. And that's been the most difficult piece to get done right now.
Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult?
Well, like I said, we don't have an athletic director for the district. We got to start there. And there are so many different things that the district needs as a whole, not only just academics and athletics, that there's just no funding to hire people to do the things that we need. All of the schools are facing difficulty with staffing. I think Monroe Elementary and maybe one or two other schools may be completely staffed by now. But the turnover rate in the district, because of the location we're in, we're a rural area, we're small. Moreover, does not attract a lot of people, and that's education too. With the jobs that have left the area, we saw a great decrease in the number of students that have left, because those parents who worked at those places, they've gone. So just attracting the people and bringing in that funding, the more students you have, the more funding you get.
So are you saying that is the, are you saying that's the sole reason County High is not getting money, or it could be a reason?
That's one of the factors. Because everybody's population has declined. So the more students you lose, the more money you lose. The more federal funding, more state funding you lose.
So let me ask you a question. What school in Monroe County is excelling?
Well,
Because
we have a few schools that have a BC range. We have a couple that have a D range. We have one that has an F. Nobody has an A. When you excelling, it depends on what your definition of excelling is, because they all can use improvement. And there are different things, and that's what my role is for this year, to work as school improvement specialist. Since I left county high, and I believe this is solely because of the grace of God, that somebody saw that the things that I did in a year's time were drastic, and a lot of people did not like some of the changes that I made, but I made changes in the best interest of the students, and I made changes that I thought would improve the school, and we came from a 58 to a 70 seats.
Yes.
So because of that, I was asked to come help the school improvement.
let's give her a round of applause for that. Yes.
That was great.
Way to go, sister. I love it. I will lift you
it
up
was
because
difficult.
that is
It was
amazing.
very difficult.
I'm
But
sure.
like I said, there were some changes that were made, and there were small changes that were made, but a big part of it was the students themselves. Getting to know what they wanted, what would bring them to school. And my thing with them was, after I met with the students, I asked them three things. If you give me better test scores, if you behave in class, excel in your academics, I would try to meet every question and demand that they had. And they rose to the top, and they did just that.
Now I want to go back to something. You said that you were booted out. Did you say that, or are those my words? You were booted
I
out.
said that. I was booted out.
You're booted out. Now we know what
Yeah.
booted out means. That means that
Right.
there was an active input, something was actively happening that caused you to no longer be employed as the interim principal. What was
Right.
that happened? When you say booted out, were you fired?
Well, I actually applied for the principal position when it was advertised, but and the interview process was one of, how can I say it? It had never been done the way before. Give you an idea. When I was interviewed, my interview, they actually allowed the alumni of the president of the Alumni Association and the mayor to sit in on my interview. There's
Really?
no other principal
Wow.
in the district
Really?
who
No.
had alumni in their interview.
Really?
Right.
Wow.
Nobody
Wow.
else had outside people in their interviews but me.
Wow.
And there has never been a principal who was hired who had a mayor and an athletic or alumni president in their interview. Nobody else but me.
What president? Who? Let's name names. What president was in your interview?
This was at that time. The president of the Alumni Association was Percy Parker, and Charles Andrews was the mayor. So nobody else, like I said, had ever had other people in their interviews besides, like teachers or staff members at the school who they were interviewing for. So
who were the other people in your interview?
Say it again.
Who were the other people there? Besides those two?
Usually when you have an interview panel, if you're hiring for an administrator, sometimes they pick like a parent, they pick like a PTO president, they may pick a staff member or two, and of course, people from the central office that are in key positions, like they may pick directors to be in the panel. That's normally expected. That's how most districts do interviews anyway for administrative positions. But like I said, my whole entire experience has been unorthodox and different from everybody else's. So, like I said, clearly from the beginning, there was an agenda. Once I interviewed for the position, I actually had to go through, and when I was told that I would not be renewed in February, I had to go through the interview process again to interview as principal. That was delayed, and then I was offered an opportunity to appeal. So this continued until May, from February to May of that year, 2024. I mean, just to run around all over. When I appealed the process, I appealed before the board members. And everyone knows in Monroe County, when you have an appeal process, you get to speak your piece, but there's no feedback from the group that you appeal to. So they make their decision after the appeal portion ends. So once the appeal ended, of course, I received a certified letter and said that you will be transferred to Monroe Middle School as an assistant principal, and you will not get the opportunity to become the principal.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you a question. You were
Mhm.
interviewed with the president of the Alumni Association and the mayor. Had you ever had
Right.
a run
When
in?
the very
Because
first time when I became interim.
so this is the thing. You have accomplished great things. You have improved the way the school looks. You have a potential to now get more funding because kids are passing, and you didn't get the job. Have you ever had a run in with the Alumni Association? Who would have done you
Now,
in?
now all of this occurred before the test scores came out. The test scores were
Uh,
not released until the following December. So
okay.
the appeal process, the interviews and everything, that was from February to May of 2024. The test scores came out November, December 2024. They always come out a semester later.
So what do you think went wrong? Why didn't you get the job?
I believe it was personal vendetta because I've never had a bad observation for anyone higher up. I've never been told, hey, this is a problem. We need to correct this. I've never been told, hey, they don't like the way you're doing this. They don't like the way you're doing that. Let's try to change it, from anyone in supervisory position above me. Never been told. So to just get a phone call and say, hey, I want to renew you. And by the way, you can reapply if you want. And then to be told, oh, by the way, we're just not going to give you the job. I mean, it just happened just like that. No reason, no rhyme. And once the test scores came out, everybody was like, uh-oh, what now?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, at that point, I was serving as assistant principal at the middle school. And so after the test scores came out, came information from the State Department. Hey, you were actually in the top 10 in the state in improving your school. So we were recognized by the governor. We were in the top 25 for overall improvements, but we were one of 3 high schools in the state who made the gains that we had. Only 3 high schools, but top 10. And so we went to the governor. I took a group of teachers who were my lead teachers while I was at County High, because I wanted to share with them. You know, this wasn't a solo effort just by myself. It took everybody at that school. And it took those whole entire 2 years of making changes to get to that point over that 1 year time. So it was a group effort. We were recognized by the governor. The board actually recognized me that following month at the board meeting. They recognized Monroe County High School. This particular year when we started school, the new superintendent recognized Monroe County High School. And I'm the kind of person, I don't like to toot my horn a lot. I just want to do what I got to do and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that, even though, you know, the test scores came up, I was very pleased, but I knew it was not just me. The Lord's hand was over all of this, because
Absolutely,
this could not
1000%.
have happened in a year's time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Miss Howard, who got the job?
I think she's frozen.
Yeah. Do you guys know the answer to that? Who got the job?
His name is Daniel Wiley.
That's the principal now,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
Is he from the area? Is he someone who Crystal says she was railroaded and possibly the target of gender bias? Clearly, Crystal. 1000% I agree.
I'm
Now,
not sure if he's from Montgomery or Mobile, but he travels both areas. So his hometown, I'm really not sure of.
I'm not either.
So you're telling me Monroe County, you guys overlooked what this woman did, what she accomplished, recognized by the state we could possibly be in a better situation had we built upon what she started, but instead you chose a different route. And why?
Well,
I don't know if this person.
let me say something. Ella,
Yeah.
They've done this a lot. We've lost a lot of people to other counties, to other places, because they wouldn't give people that were from Monroe County or graduates of the schools a chance to show what they could do. We've lost a lot of people from Monroe County that has gone to other places.
The thing about it too, Ella, is the superintendent recommended her twice to be rehired. the board did not approve his recommendation. So both times he recommended her to be rehired, but they did not approve the recommendation.
Wow. I wonder, how does this happen? Why didn't they? Do you guys know anything about, did she step on somebody's toes? Is this a personal move? This is all allegations.
It was
personal.
Yeah.
It was personal. Mm-hmm.
And it's personal because why? Why do you think? Obviously, we don't know exactly, but why do you think it was personal?
Sometimes when you're on the board and you have kids in school and you don't want your kids to be disciplined, then that kind of has an effect on the decisions that they make.
Right.
Wow. Crystal, you're funny. Crystal said, Ms. Howard, remember Harriet Tubman carried a pistol because she had to shoot some of the very slaves she helped to leave the plantation. She also had to convince them that they were even slaves. They didn't realize it. Sounds like if they were all women, they need to see a lawyer. I agree. Listen, guys, I am one of those people, and I'm just going to put it out there. I don't believe in people being mistreated. I don't care if you look like me or you don't. It doesn't matter. If she was railroaded and this is what makes me mad about people that God is gifted and anointed to do something, and people get in the way. And then you want to turn around and look, what happened? Why do you think the school is failing? So you guys have experienced other people that have wanted to help the school, and it's halted. Why do you think? Now, I'm very disturbed why the mayor would get involved with hiring a teacher. Isn't that a function of the school board? Yes, no?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
The mayor has no part in the hiring. So the purpose of him being in the interview, I'm yet to understand. Well, I'm just finding out about that when she spoke.
I didn't even know that either. That they were.
I didn't know that either. That was news to all of us. And then now the president of the Alumni Association. What would he have to do with anybody working for the school?
Exactly.
Why?
No
listen, guys. See, y'all wonder why I keep doing shows. This is why I keep talking about it, because every show we're finding out some BS that we didn't know before. This is crazy, and you guys should all be outraged because it's your kids that are going to that school. Everybody should be outraged about this, not just us.
I am, and I feel like Chitunda, she was doing a great job at Monroe County High School. I mean, she really was, and when she didn't get the job, I was kind of surprised that she didn't get it. And I didn't know all this was going on with, people sitting in on interviews and all this stuff. So it really appalls me to know that she didn't get the job because other people, that really don't have anything to really do with education was sitting in on her interviews. They don't know what's going on in the school system, and they don't know about the scores, and they don't know about what it takes to bring those scores up and everything. So,
exactly, Pam. Now, Chitunda, were you aware? Because LaTanya just mentioned that the superintendent recommended you twice to be rehired. Were you aware of that?
He did, and the board voted it down both times. Yes, I was told in February.
I want to know why.
Renew. He recommended in March, and he recommended in April, and in May, that's when I appealed, and still was told no.
Whose toes did you step on, Chitunda?
I can't really tell you whose toes I stepped on because this is my philosophy, Ella. I can't play favorites and play games because even when I was a teacher, I taught my siblings. And I told them, when I'm in the classroom, I'm still Miss Howard. I'm not your sister.
Yes.
You have to draw the line professionally and personally. So I did things that I thought were right. And I tried to do them no matter who it was. I treated everybody the same. I didn't play favorites. If a board member had a grandkid or a child in the school, they would treat the same way as everybody else. So because I did not want to be seen as the type of leader who was, oh, you can go to Miss Howard and she'll change this for you. She'll change. I wasn't that type of person. I'm still not. So
no, she wasn't. My son got in trouble.
Mine too. Hey, and mine did too, and it was like, I'm sorry. It was like, I'm sorry. I have to do what I have to do. I mean, and we were friends. So.
Oh wow. No, I respect that. 1000%. I respect that.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question there, Miss Chitunda. Did you get the support? Let me start by saying this. Did parents complain about you to the school board or anyone else?
Oh
Were there
yes,
complaints
definitely.
leveled
Yes.
against you?
I
Okay.
mean, there were several parents who I've had actually bar parents from the campus because they were so disrespectful. I mean, cursing out teachers, and I told them, look, we're not gonna do that. You just cannot come out here. This is an establishment. It's a place of education. We can't have parents just acting just a plum fool. So I mean, and I was told several times to my face, you are so and so and so and so in front of students, in front of teachers. I mean, and then to say at the end of their statement, I'm going to the superintendent on you. I'm going to go to your board member. And so I'm like, okay, because I didn't feel anything was done wrong. I wasn't treating anybody kids wrong. Because you always have to think, how you treat other people's kids, that's how you want people to treat yours.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So,
Did the school board talk to you? Did the school board talk to you about about those accusations leveled against you?
yeah, every time, yeah, they came back and they mentioned to me, what people were saying. But in hindsight, it makes me wonder what they were saying to the people in return. That part was never privy to me in the conversation. It was always they came and said this, but nothing about what was said on my behalf.
Did anybody support you?
Who's that?
Did anybody show you support? Did the school board support you?
I mean, the teachers went to bat. The teachers wrote letters. Parents called. Parents wrote letters. They talked to the superintendent. They talked to the board members. But like I said, I believe from the jump there was an agenda, and that was part of the agenda just to get that to happen. Now, hindsight, some people don't know this. This was not the first time they tried to move me from Monroe County High. This is actually the second time. When I was an assistant principal back in 2017, the military came in and did a health screening for the entire community. And that summer, I was told that you're going to be transferred again to Monroe Middle School. And there was no reason why I was going to be transferred. That transfer never happened. Because when the military came in, if anybody has influence or any knowing on the military, when they come in and they operate an organization or an environment, you're not going to have access to anything. So because they were housed at Monroe County High, and the wing that they held their logistics in was on the hallway where my office was, I was never allowed to go in to get any of my belongings because I was going to proceed and move everything, over the summertime when I was told. But because of that, I could not move my things. And so just so happened, again, I believe by the grace of God, I did not understand what was going on and what was happening. And there were like 4 or 5 administrative positions open in the district. I applied for every one. Did not get a call on a single one for an interview. So I knew at that point, somebody in Monroe County had blackballed me.
Wow.
So this was my second time going through this. Second time. First time it never happened.
So who do you blame?
Well, it's a combination of factors. I could say my board member that I had when I was at County High never had my back. Never.
Who is that?
That was Kenneth Smith.
Okay.
Which was appalling to me because he and I worked together as an assistant principal under Mr. Woody. We worked together for years. He knew me. He never had my backing. The former superintendent seemed like he showed support, but I never really knew because, like I said, I never got the second side of the conversation that they were having with other people. So it was always where I had to make sure whatever I did, I had to do it right. I had to do it according to policy. I had to do it according to board policy because I knew there was an agenda out there to move me out of the way.
Wow. See, this is why I do these shows, because all we want to do is party. And our kids are failing. And our kids are failing because of leadership. I'm going to call a spade a spade. Mm-hmm. This is a direct reflection of poor leadership.
Yes.
Own it. So So Miss Howard, what would you like to see differently in Monroe County High or MCHS or in Monroe County period when it comes to the school system? What would you like to see different?
I would like to see more unity, because Monroe County has always been seen, and I can say this from going to different places in the state, talking to other people, seeing how their districts are run. There's not a lot of unity. Some of the schools seem to be more separated from the others. They don't have to do the things that the other schools do. The Monroeville schools have more pressure on them because they are the city schools to perform. Just like right now, I'm interim principal at Shields because the principal's not there anymore. And they felt, when I got to them, I asked them, about how they feel about things. They felt like they were the stepchild of the district. Like no one checks on them, no one cares about them. So we need more unity, because at the
she's frozen. Yeah. Listen, we're gonna get through this interview one way or the other. She'll get back and get straight. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about what she's talking about here. She named the board member for County High, which was Kenny Smith. Has anyone else ever had any run-ins with Kenny Smith?
I haven't. He was a board member. He's not anymore, is he, Tanya?
No,
he's not anymore.
Okay, he was someone else got the spot.
Yeah, someone else ran against him.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he lost the election. Okay.
I think I saw what Kim Abney asked to name the board members. And Miss Watson probably could name all the board members, because I don't know all of them.
No, I don't know, Mom. I know the board member now is Tammy Rainey. That's the board member for County High.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tammy Rainey is the new board member for County High. And then who else? And we have a new superintendent as well.
Yeah, Marty Hanks.
Another
board member is Miss Kidd, Sabrina Kidd.
Okay.
Barbara Turner.
Is Martha Jordan still on there?
Brian Harris.
Okay.
Brian Harris, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and Martha. That's all.
Okay.
So I want to get familiar with the role. School board is responsible for the operation of Monroe County High School, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish she were here so I can ask her, did anyone from the board ever interview her? Because it would make sense that the school board, who manages the operation, why do I care what the mayor thinks? Why do I care what the Alumni Association thinks when it comes to the education of our kids? You want the best person in the job, right? Am I crazy?
Yes,
Pam,
that's true.
Latanya?
That's true.
Okay. So there has to be an agenda. And I've had several people who say, yeah, it's personal. I don't see anything. And from what I've learned from and about Miss Howard, I've never heard anything about her other than that she's fair and just. Even the people watching the show today saying the same thing. So I don't understand what's going on, Monroe County. Y'all got to talk to me. School board members, thank you, Coco. She's bringing it to us. See, I love it when you guys are watching the show, play along. I appreciate it. For you, Kim, the school board members are Sabrina Kidd. She's the chair. Martha Jordan is the vice chair. Barbara Turner, Tammy Rainey, and Brian Harrison. Those are all board members, and Marty Hanks is the superintendent. So if you're watching this broadcast, school board, I want everyone to know here that you can go to their website. I want you guys to request their financial records. I have that because I'm actually going to be doing that today. I got an email from them because I sent an email saying I wanted these records, and then they told me what I have to do to get them. Of course, I think it's like $1 for every page or 50 cents after so many pages that you have to pay, but that's okay because we want to get it. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing because we need to get in their business, get in their affairs. The days are gone that we just let people run us over and then expect us to play along. No, school board, we're talking about you because I personally think that there's something wrong when you have the mayor and the president of the Alumni Association sitting in on an interview for the principal at the high school. Now, mind you, guys, she was the interim, which means that's her interview process right there. to hell with sitting in a room for 15 minutes and you don't like me, but I've shown you what I can do as the interim. So you're telling me, Pam, that she was the interim, did so well, and it wasn't good enough for her to get the job.
Well, that's what she's saying. I mean, that's what it seems like. Seemed like that she wasn't good enough to be the principal, but she was going to be interim. So,
Can't,
I myself personally, I think she did a great job at Monroe County High School when she was there.
that's what I've heard. The racial makeup of the board, Kim, there are, okay, so of course, Mrs. Turner and
It's
Sabrina
3-2.
are African Americans and
Mhm.
everybody else is Caucasian. That's the
Yeah.
racial makeup of the board.
Mhm.
Okay. So to answer that question,
But at the time when she was
But
hired,
at the
it wasn't
time, it was 3-2,
three,
where you had
three to
three.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-2,
yeah.
3-2 at the time. At that time.
Well, Miss Jones here is saying, listen, come on back home, Miss Howard. We need someone like you. Listen, I'm just impressed that she hasn't given up. She's still trying to make it work at with MCHS, Monroe County, and just doing what she was led to do. So I thank God for her tenacity to keep doing it. Jennifer says parents need to attend school board meeting. Yes,
Yeah.
Jennifer. Yes.
Yep. That's true.
100%. That is exactly what I was trying to find, because I have it over here that I brought over here. This is right here. I want you guys to take a look at this. These are the statements and budgets that you can request, and it's on their website. These are the things that you can request if you want to know. This is how you request it. You see that email? I want you guys to take this down. Let me move this comment out of the way so you guys can see. This is how you get to the school board to request their documents. I want you guys to look at this, look at the email address that's there, and send it. Let's get in their business. You guys need to go to the website, see when they have board meetings. They just recently had a budget meeting. Don't you want to know where the money's going? Why isn't County High getting some of this money? How much money is coming into the school board? How much grants are they being awarded? Are they using the grants for the high school, or are they passing it along? What's really going on? Like when the grants are coming in, because you guys have people that apply for grants. Those grants will meet the needs of the high school. Now, Ms. Howard also said that one of the things that affects is the attendance and all those kinds of things. So let's bring her back up. She's back there. There she is.
Change locations.
I see. And baby, listen, because
Finally got it somewhere.
Because we're sitting here because we want to hear from you. We definitely want to hear from you. And let me get this out of the way. So we can see you. Okay. So, Ms. Howard, I want to go back to where did we leave off with you? Because I want to make sure we keep that conversation going. We were talking
about did I have any support?
Yeah. Did you have any support? And if so, who?
Like I said, all of the teachers that were there, of course, because, you go back and think I was there 19 years, 20 years. So I taught alongside most of the teachers who were still there.
Okay.
Parents, like I said, some parents called the board, some parents called the superintendent, some wrote letters. And they always, expressed and told me when they were reaching out, making a stance and that thing. So, yeah, I felt like I had the support, but the one or two parents that I did not have the support of were very influential with the board member who did not support me. So,
who was it? I want a name call. Who was it? Who was influential? Yes. Who was influential with the board that caused you to not get hired, that you think?
I'm not gonna call names because, like I said,
I wish I knew, because I sure call the name.
I don't want to do that because their kids are still in school, and I don't want to, have that. Like I said, I try to think about how people treat other kids, because
I don't blame them. I blame the board,
right?
Because they're supposed to be the educators,
right?
And they're supposed to be supporters of education. And if you, as interim principal, that was your interview. Now, let me ask you a question. Crystal makes a valid point. How is someone with no education experience interviewing a candidate for the principal's job?
Exactly. Like I said, that was a first for Monroe County, and it hasn't been done since. So think about that.
I'm going to come back to your question, Ladarius, but I want to ask you then, what did they ask you?
One person asked, what would I do different from Mr. Woody?
What?
What would make them think that I wouldn't be doing the same thing as he did when I became the leader? And my response to that is, duh, I have my own mind and my own ideas. I had my own vision. When you're hired in as an administrator, as an assistant, or whatever your role is, you take the vision of your leader on and you forward their vision. So Mr. Woody had his vision, and that was what my role was. I forwarded his vision. When I became leader, I saw things that he saw. I saw things that he didn't see. I saw things from the student and the teacher perspective because I was a teacher there. So I saw different perspectives, and I decided to change how I wanted County High to look and change the vision of the school. So I did things a little bit differently. And so that's what any person does. You have your
Of
own
course.
thoughts.
Of
You have your
course.
own
Of
mind.
course. What
I
else?
was also asked why we weren't sending articles to the newspaper. And I was like, okay. Again, another little tidbit that a lot of people don't know. We would constantly send things to the newspaper at Monroe County High School, but unless I sent it to a white teacher to get it placed in the paper, it wasn't going in there. I could send things 3 or 4 times and it would not get published. Black teachers could send things that would not get published. We had to
Oh
literally
Lord have
pick
mercy.
certain teachers to send articles, send pictures, and then it would get published.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never speechless, but really.
Really?
So you couldn't get anything published unless it went through white teachers.
A different
So
face.
how did you respond to them? Did you tell them that?
The interviewees or the
Yeah.
newspaper. Yeah,
In the
I
interview.
did. Yeah, I did. And as a matter of fact, the mayor was shocked. And he was like, I'm gonna talk to the newspaper to see what's going on. And after he spoke with them, we started getting more articles in the newspapers.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
So
Yes,
how
very
did they communicate to you that you didn't get the job? Who called you?
Nobody called. I got a letter in the mail.
Now you know that's some trifling. That is some trifling ratchet mess.
I received
They
a letter
didn't
in the
even.
mail.
You got a letter in the mail saying, and what did the letter say, Miss Howard?
You will be transferred to Monroe Middle School effective 24-25 school year. That was basically it. 2 or 3 lines.
How did you guys feel when you found out that she was not going to be hired? LaTanya, how did you feel?
It was just surprising after the superintendent had recommended her twice. So normally when the superintendent recommends somebody for the job, the board members normally go along with it. But in her case, it was different. I've never seen it where the superintendent recommended somebody and they didn't get the job.
And the first time I was recommended by the superintendent, usually how they say, do I hear a motion or did somebody vote? Nobody said a word. Nobody spoke. Nobody voted yes. Nobody voted no.
All right, Ladarius is saying Marty Hanks is an alumni at Excel. Like Sheehan. Sheehan quit before his time was up. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, he retired.
He retired.
He retired. She said, Jennifer, you can't speak at them, I don't think. I don't know what she means by that. What do you mean by that?
That means you have to, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You have to get on the agenda to speak at the board meetings, and they allow you 2 minutes to speak.
Oh, really? Okay. That's interesting because I got an email one time told me don't even show up.
Oh,
wow.
Absolutely. That was the other city council. That was one of those meetings. And I, of course, didn't listen. All right. So Crystal says that's a gender-based bias question. They compared you to a male. She's referring to your interview. If the SOL has not expired, y'all female professionals might need to consult an attorney who specializes in cases like yours. I would encourage you, Ms. Howard. I know that you're still kind of somewhat working there, but know your rights at least.
Right.
Know your rights at least. Okay. A letter in the mail. Isn't that the truth, Mr.? I was like, what? A letter?
Yeah.
Now y'all trifling for that. What did you leave out of a house that was on fire? That's a good point. Basically, what she said: if the house is on fire, why stay in there? Get out of there. You do deserve to be treated with respect, Miss Howard. I appreciate you.
And I've
Yeah.
debated that. I actually debated retiring because I could have retired. But like I said, I believe the Lord's hand's been on everything, and I listened to him first. And he told me,
start your own school.
Yeah,
Start
he
your
told me
own
don't
school.
move.
Start your own school, doggone it. I'm so serious right now about that. No, I really am. I can't tell you how much I believe that is something that God he's keeping you in it for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's not to keep working for them. Maybe you've learned enough. Maybe it's time for you to go out and branch out and build your own. Start your own school. Damn them. So God was just preparing you for what we need at JF Shield. See, now you're trying to take her back.
And that's your home. So and that's her home, and that's the reason why I've always said, I've always wondered, like Chuck Dean tried to get to Monroe County High School. Why wouldn't they bring somebody back to County High that loved County High? I know Miss Howard did her best, but I'm saying even before she applied, Chuck Dean, they was trying to get him there. I remember a long time ago, but they won't give anybody that cares about these schools. They won't let them stay in these schools.
Right.
Miss Howard cared about Monroe County High School, and sometimes, not necessarily you have to be at your home-based school, because I know a lot of principals that have been in the county, that have taught in our county, that went to another school. They've done well, but I'm just saying, why can't we just let it stay in our county? Instead of people out of county always coming in, getting jobs that, these people love Monroe County. They're staying there.
That's right.
Because there's nothing in Monroe County for real. They love Monroe County. So use what you got.
Right.
Use what you got.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Crystal said, Pam, even Jesus got no respect in his hometown. Amen. Nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth, guys. It's sad.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question. How is the school now compared to when you were there, Chitunda? Let's interview him.
Yeah. Let me take a break on that note.
I want somebody to speak on it. Speak on it. How
I don't
is the school
know.
now?
I don't know. I haven't been there. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I can't tell you. I visit when I need to do something with the other teachers or the counselors and things of that nature. I can tell you this: every time I go back, the students ask me, "Am I coming back?"
And one thing that I did hear, I heard this from just people that you cannot tell him anything. He don't want to listen to anything that anybody has to say.
Okay, when you say he, who are we talking about?
The
who
principal.
are we talking about?
The principal.
The principal now doesn't want to hear anything that anyone has to say.
I mean, it's his way, and that's it. That's what I've heard now. I haven't even met the man. So I just heard that he's just, it's his way.
School board, is that what we want? Is that the representation that we need at Monroe County High School? And then we wonder why we're failing. We wonder why kids are leaving. I don't know. That's on you guys. Real talk. Mm-hmm. I want to transition now to our other part of our conversation. Okay. The Alumni Association. All right, Miss Pam Mala. Miss Pam Mala, the one who always has her hair together whenever I see her.
Whatever.
Listen. You were the first president of the Alumni Association, yes?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
According to the association that I established, from what I understand now, this is not the same association. That's what they tell me. They say, well, it's not the one you started. It's a different one. I said, okay.
Crystal, you're right. Lean on Me. Very good movie. One of my favorites. All right. That's good. We're going to get into all that to uncover. So why did you come up with the idea to have an alumni association?
Well, I was at Monroe County High School one day, and I was talking to Coach Williams. He was the football coach at the time. Mm-hmm. And we were discussing, why things were the way they were with the football team and the bat. I was like, why are we can't do like some other schools that, I had came from Phoenix City with my son, and I just seen a big difference in the programs. And he
Right.
told me, he said, money. I said, money, really? He was telling me that we're not getting as much money and everything. And so he was just telling me, he said, one way y'all can help. And I said, what way? He said, form our Alumni Association. He was from a place where the Alumni Association did a lot for the schools, and he sat me down. He told me everything they did. I talked to someone from Beatrice, who they have an alumni association, and they were telling me how they helped the school with with their fundraisers and with their how everything they raised went back to the school. They said at the end of the year they probably had $1,000 left in their account, but everything went to the schools. And I heard the other day they have a sports alumni, and they had a JFSHIELDS alumni, which is academics. But they said everything they had went back to the school. So I was like, okay. And with talking to those members, I was like, let's do this. So I called a couple of people up. I called Miss Watson, Jennifer Chapman. I called Frank Banks. It was a lot of us. Bill McPherson. I called a lot of people. And so
Okay.
they said, let's do this. So we met in the basement of Frank Banks' house. And we decided we're going to do this. So our
Okay.
second meeting, we picked officers, and I was the president. I think Frank was the first vice president, and Percy Parker was the second. We had like a correspondence secretary, a recording secretary. We had like 3 treasurers, one that keeps the books, and it was, we went down the line and did everything that we were supposed to, chaplain and everything.
Okay.
So that's how we got started. And our
Okay.
goal was to help Monroe County High School, academic
Now-
and sports wise. That's
All
what
right.
our goal was.
Okay.
So,
So you guys were formed. You got your officers, but
mhm.
there came a time where how did you guys come up with what you were going to do, how you were going to fundraise? How did that look? What were those conversations that led y'all to know, okay, we're going to fundraise for this, we're going to fundraise for that? How did you establish that in the
Well,
organization?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's see. This started like in maybe April of 2018. Anyway, I was president, and then of course, I left. I retired and left because of some situations that happened with my son. But anyway, I felt like I wasn't gonna do justice for the Alumni Association, so I kind of
Okay.
stepped down. But we were in the process of We had even talked about a tailgate that year. We had talked about the tailgate that year, but it was just too soon because we had really jumped off yet with everything. So we didn't do the tailgate that year, and so we were talking about doing a ball for all the classes. We talked about different ways to raise money, but of course we had never done anything. We had several. We had pretty good amount of members at the time. We had Larry Snowden, Joanne Snowden. We had Greg Davis. We had a lot of members. Anyway, at first we didn't, because it was $100, and we said, okay, let's take it down to $25, and maybe we'll get more people to join that way. So we did. We took it down to $25, and we did. People started coming in, joining, and so
Okay.
when I resigned thinking that our new president, he talked a mean game. Now he in the meeting he was talking, blah blah blah, giving some good ideas and stuff. So I said, Frank didn't want it. Frank Banks, he didn't want it. He said no, cuz I don't have time for it right now, So we voted for Percy Parker. We voted. So that's when he became the president. Okay. And I didn't go to many. I would come to some meetings, but not as many because I lived in Montgomery. But anyway, the
Okay.
next year they started trying to get the
Okay.
tailgate going.
Okay.
And so
let me ask you a question. Did you guys have an agreement with the high school for the tailgate? How did you get the approval to do the tailgate?
I really don't. I was gonna go ahead, Tony, because I wasn't involved with that one.
Well, the high school didn't. In certain cases, a lot go above the principal and it goes straight. to the board. So the
Yeah.
board approved
Okay.
for the Alumni Association to do the tailgate.
Okay.
So that's
So the Alumni
was
Association went to the school board, because I have learned that there is an agreement or contract at the school board with the Alumni Association to do tailgate. That's my recent information, the recent information I received. I don't know
And
how true that is.
I wish Chitunda would come back because she was the principal part at that time. And I remember last week in her comments, she said, no, there's no contract. But they said they telling me that it's a lifetime contract with the alumni doing the tailgate. I don't know how true it is, but that's what was told to me, that it's a lifetime contract. I don't know how they got the lifetime contract. I don't know how that happened, but from what I understand, there's a lifetime contract. And Ella, people have been calling me because the first tailgate they had, yeah, I was a member of the association at the time, and I got out and I solicited folks. I got on Facebook and I contacted people because of course he had me as as the HR person, which was a person that solicited people. I got people to come to things. So I solicited a lot of classes that year. I mean, I really got the ball rolling for homecoming. And so,
You did.
and a week after that, I was told by him that I saw him post the officers and my name wasn't on there. So I called him and I said, "Why my name isn't on there?" He said, "Because I don't need that." And I said, "Did y'all vote me out?" He said, "No, I decided that I don't need that anymore." And I said, "You decided?" I said, "Y'all didn't vote on it?" So I told him, I said, but you can't just do that. He said, "Yeah, I decided I didn't need you no more." So
Okay, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. Okay, I want to go back because Miss Howard is here. We're gonna get back to that. Stick a pin in that.
Okay.
Chitunda, you said last week in the comments on the show that there was not a contract with the high school and the Alumni Association to do tailgate, right?
Right.
Okay. But I've learned that there was a contract, but it's with the school board.
Right.
So
Whenever someone
yeah.
wants to use school property, they can send a letter in, make a request to the school board, as long as they have liability insurance and show proof of insurance, and the board normally grants them use of the property. So that's what they did.
Okay.
So does that mean they have a lifetime contract with
No,
that?
it's not a
No,
lifetime.
you have to get
Every time
approved
you use
every
the
year.
building or the property, you have to ask every time. You're not given a blanket,
okay.
yes or no.
All right. So let me ask you this question. Who's to say someone else doesn't want to try? Is the door open, school board? This is for you guys. Is the door open for someone else to bid on it? What if the Booster Club wants to do it? Can they have the opportunity?
It's not per se a contract saying that if I do this, you do, you do that. It's a request to use the property. That's all it is. It's just a request.
Okay.
And you state, why you're using the property, what you're going to do, and then they decide.
Thank you, Cassandra. Cassandra says, we're waiting on this agreement. It was requested to be seen on Monday, 15th, and we have yet received a copy. So
Cassandra is the president of the Booster Club.
Yes, Cassandra is the president of the Booster Club. She was there in a meeting with the school board, and one of the things that came up was, okay, there's a contract, let's see it. Now you would think they knew that Cassandra and the people that went there were coming. Why you didn't have that ready? You already know what we want to talk about. Why didn't you have the contract ready? Okay.
Now, when someone requests to use the property, that communication piece is public. So at the last board meeting that they had, there were 2 board meetings, a regular board meeting and a budget hearing. So whatever the documentation is, it's on the board's website.
It's not there.
Really?
From this year or the last month? You talking about this year's request?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know when they made the request, because you'll have to go way back that far.
Yeah, somebody went back all the way to the last year through the minutes and everything, because they post every use of facilities, and to my knowledge, it hasn't even been approved by the board because they've looked.
May not have been. That's a good point. There may not have been a request made.
Okay. All right, guys, listen. So you're telling me on one hand, there's a contract. So if there's a contract, why do you have to request? That seems like a conflict. If I have a contract, I don't need to request it.
It's not a contract because we work with the youth basketball league. Leaders that's posting, we had to request to use the gym this year. So next year, when they get ready to practice again, we're going to have to request to use it again. You can't have a contract. You have to request that facility every time you want to use it. So it's not a contract.
So maybe that's why you don't have it, Cassandra, because it doesn't exist. Proof of liability insurance. How do we know? Let's say tailgate this year. Let's get into the meat of it. Let's say tailgate comes up on the 17th. They're out there partying and some kid gets killed or some kid gets run over by a truck or gets hurt or something happens. Who's responsible? Chitunda?
And the proof of liability you have to present with your request. You have to have that at the same time. And usually, like I said, that's if it's been approved, that's going to be on those board minutes as well. But now I'm like you, if there's no proof in the last year or so, there must not have been a request.
So I want y'all to think about this. Y'all are out there, last year, out there partying and having a good time, but we're not covered. How is it that the school will allow anything to happen on its property and they're not covered? Why would they do that?
Whoever has liability insurance is responsible. So whoever
and that's supposed to be the Alumni Association, right?
Say it again.
That's supposed to be the Alumni Association, right?
Right. They will be
guys. Cassandra is out here doing the stuff we're talking about. She's out here physically. She's there. She's requesting. She's talking to them. And her request is not even there. Y'all playing the games. I'm telling you. I had proof of insurance also. Okay. Now,
and that goes back to excuse me, like when I was telling y'all about with the South Alabama Blazers, when we requested it, the letter that we wrote to the school board is on the website. The proof of insurance from the insurance company is on the website. So if it was requested, if it's there, went to the school board meeting, it's going to be on that website and it's public record. You can go in the minutes and pull everything up. You just go on the Monroe County website. Everything is there.
Cassandra, do me a favor while we're doing this show. Please go to the website and see if you can see where the tailgate was requested this year and was approved. If it's public record, we should see it. There should be nothing to hide, right? Okay. So let me ask you guys this, because we're going back and forth with this tailgate. Pam, because you were a member also, LaTanya, yes? Of the association.
I was actually one of the treasurers.
Oh, you were one of the treasurers. So how is it that you're not there anymore?
Well, just like Pam, I was booted out.
Look at that.
We showed up at a meeting.
Well, Tanya, they said you didn't pay your dues.
Really, Pam? $25. Let's be real.
I'm just saying that's what was told to me, that you didn't pay your dues.
That was an excuse that they gave to me and Toria as to why we were no longer treasurers. The money was due in October, and I think we was going to pay at the meeting, but when we got to the meeting, they had already put somebody else in our position.
Wow.
What? Oh, that. Okay. Yeah. So Ladarius says it was in the newspaper when they got approved for the gym.
Yes, it was. Everything it goes to the board and then it's printed in the paper.
So thank you, Cassandra.
Come out in the paper.
Oh yeah. We getting all in y'all grits today. Cassandra says, I've already done that, Ella. I need to understand. If it's not approved, do you have the insurance? You guys going out there and the school is not protected? Why would we allow people to come on school property and not have the protection that it needs to protect the school board from liability if someone gets hurt?
Well, let me ask you a question. Didn't they meet with the superintendent? Didn't they meet with the superintendent about this the other day? And from what I understand, they said only thing he said was, well, why don't the Booster Club and the association come together and So does he have proof of the liability since he know they are gonna have the tailgate? Does he? I mean, we need to find out something. They need to find out, I guess, who has the liability insurance, because it has to be insured.
That has to be board approved, and it will be on the website. The insurance policy and the letter that they recommended that they're asking for the use of the facility. The board has to approve that.
Now, Miss Howard, you mentioned last week in my show in the comments that there are other organizations that are going to the high school having these so-called fundraisers or having events, and it doesn't benefit the high school. Talk to us a little bit about that. What did you mean when you said that?
There was a football camp under the time when Mr. Coach Felder was the coach, and there was a football camp when Coach Williams was a coach. And both of those organizations, I believe it was two separate organizations, both of those organizations were approached by the coaches to say, hey, if you're going to use our facilities, could you not give back a donation from your registration fees? And both
could you not? It should be no question.
Right.
This is how it's gonna. Please.
Right. And both of those organizations said no. I know there was some kickback the last time that it was done when Coach Felder was there, because not a lot of county high football players went or participated in the camp.
Wait a minute. You got a football camp going on at county high and your players aren't even.
But the reason the students got together on their own,
and you're not getting anything back to them.
Right. The students got together on their own and said, if you're not going to support us, we're not going to come and participate.
That's wise.
So they did not participate.
Yeah, but yet and still, they still were able to go there and have their event.
That's because once again, everything is bypassed the principal, and you go straight to the school board and get permission from the school board.
Right.
And
there could be
Felder at the time, he didn't even know the football camp was going on. They had already board approved the football camp, and the head football coach at County High had no idea what was going on.
Kickback. Oh, did I say that? Kickback. Somebody at the school board might be getting some kickback on approving everything. Is that possible? And if so, can we hide those funds? Is it possible? Miss Howard, let me ask you this. When you were there, did you ever see money come into the school from any of the organizations that did something or a fundraiser in the name of MCHS? Did you ever see it, or would you see it?
Not unless their accounts were at the school.
But let me ask you this.
If they had accounts at the school and they had an event, I always touch back bases with the person and say, hey, when are you turning in those funds? If they didn't automatically come turn them in when the event happened. So now, if you ever have to accounts outside of the school, we would never know if they were having things. Because like some people had events outside of the school off of campus. We wouldn't know.
I heard about some of those. I heard that there were events going on outside of the campus in the name of MCHS, and they never got those funds.
Right.
Wow.
Why? People, y'all don't see a problem with this? You have people up there saying, I'm doing this for the football team. You're not on school grounds and y'all are giving to it.
Right.
So you're telling me if it's not, like, let's say, for example, the association, their account is not connected to the high school, right?
No.
Or is it? Okay.
No.
So that's considered an outside event. So they raise money. You don't know how much it is. It's not connected to you.
No.
So when we see pictures of the alumni saying that they're doing all of this and scholarships and all this kind of stuff, I understand that the scholarships, for one, I want you to talk about this, LaTanya. The scholarships, I see those being posted, but I also saw where the alumni is asking school classes to help with the scholarships. So are those scholarships being presented coming from people donating? Or is it money that's already being collected? Can y'all give me some clarity on that?
Now, I know in 2024, my son received a scholarship. Now, that actually came from the Alumni Association because they hadn't asked classes or anything for anything in 2024. But in the previous years, the classes gave the scholarships because at awards night, they would announce which class gave that scholarship. But nothing actually came from the Alumni Association itself.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add on that?
Well,
Pam?
I know one year, I remember on Facebook they were asking the classes to donate a scholarship to, so many scholarships, and they did. The classes, some of the classes did. Now I don't know how many scholarships. Like I say, all I see is on what happens on Facebook, and they said scholarship. This scholarship was, and the only one that I've really seen, like Tanya said, was back in 2024. I saw them where they gave a donation, some scholarships in, but I remember the time before they asked classes to give scholarships. Now they gave one out. Tanya, I don't know if you remember this. It was to a little girl. I don't know what that scholarship came from, and that's when it first. That was been a couple of years ago. I don't know where that scholarship came from. I
I
don't know if it
think that
came
was
from.
the very first one.
Yeah.
How
Miss
much are these
Howard, did they give
scholarships?
your daughter a scholarship?
Yeah, she got a scholarship. That was in 23. It was, I don't remember, it was $300 or $500, but she and probably, I think maybe 3 of her classmates got a scholarship that year.
I think
And
that's the one where the classes gave.
Yeah, that's when the classes gave.
And the year before that, I can't remember if 22 was the very first year they did this, but the first time that they gave scholarships out, when we had a scholarship assembly, I remember it was in the gym. We actually went live, and those scholarships came out of people's personal pocket, and went to the alumni, and the alumni presented it. But when we went live with the scholarship program, people would come in and saying, "Hey, I paid that money to them. That didn't come from them. It came in the name of my class."
Yes.
Wow.
So that's when we found out what was going on. And we
Okay.
didn't know that's what they were doing.
There it is. So they were
Because
taking
even
credit for
in
something that doesn't.
2025,
Yeah. Okay.
my son gave 3 scholarships, and people were calling me saying, the Alumni Association gave that. And I was like, no, they did not. My son personally gave that out of his own pocket. The Alumni Association gave nothing in 2025. I don't recall anybody getting anything this year. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't recall it.
Wow. Okay. Let's go back to you, Miss Howard. Because I really want to dig deeper into this with the association. You mentioned in one of my shows too, not that you were on the show, but in comments, you said that you had to reach out to the association and they wouldn't return your calls. Why were you reaching out to them? For what reason?
Well, when tailgate time came, I had questions. One of the problems that we had was about security.
Okay.
We had people who came to homecoming the previous year before, and people were complaining about the smell of marijuana. People were actually leaving the game because they had gotten sick and they couldn't take the scent. And so I asked, about their security. And so, they were saying they didn't have to have security. And I was like, yes, you do. We have to have security for the ball game. You have to have security for your event, because we're not patrolling your event in the tailgate area. Our security was to handle inside the stadium, outside in the parking lot, and down near the field house. So they were like, we don't have to have security. And I'm going back and forth. Yes, you do need security. For that main reason, because with this being a public school property, a public place, there's not supposed to be marijuana smoking going on at this tailgate. It's not supposed to be any alcohol because it's school property. And that has been a problem. So I was told I was difficult because I asked questions.
That's why you didn't get the job. just
May have been.
Yeah. I'm seeing it all. It's on the writings on the wall, as Crystal says. That's why you didn't get the job, because you were creating some smoke, rightfully so, Miss Howard. Because I didn't smell anything when I was there last year. I didn't.
I think they had security last year, didn't they? Chitunda.
I think so. I wasn't there the whole time, but I think they did last year.
Okay.
One year they didn't, but last year they did have security.
This was the year before. The last year I was there when people were complaining about the year before. And these were older people that were coming back, to Monroe that went to County High. And they were saying they had to leave because they just couldn't take it. So, I started asking questions. And of course, like I said, that was the last year I was there.
So let me ask you a question. If money did come in, Miss Howard, how would you know? How would you know if it did or didn't?
We
How would
wouldn't.
you wouldn't?
We wouldn't unless they gave it to the school. And I can tell you for a fact, the very first year they gave money to the school, I believe it was $1,800.
$1,800.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
And they
Mhm.
told us they wanted 900 to go to the volleyball team and 900 to football, which was
Okay.
a question because this was a football game, and football was the team that did not get the income from the tailgate or from the gate because we lost. And we always compare year to year to see how we do on homecoming. So we lost $4,000 to $5,000 on the gate itself because people were not coming in the game. So my question was, if you're gonna give $1,800, give it to football to help with their loss.
Yes.
Why are you giving $900 to volleyball? And they were like, this is what we wanted to go for. And of course, that's where we had to put it because when people give us money, we put it where they asked it to go.
Of course, of course.
But that was one of my biggest questions.
Was there ever, and what year was that when that happened?
That was the very first year.
I can't remember what year that was.
That was 2019. Was it 19? It was the very first tailgate that we had because I remember they gave a check and they took a picture of the check and gave them out. And I think that was the only time. That was our first year, and we did really good on that because we had 75 tents, and they paid $100 a piece for the tents. And of course, you had to pay out, for I don't think we didn't have security, but for the lights and the garbage and the porta potties, we had to pay out for that. But we did good that year. It was $7,500. Right, it should have been over $7,500 because you had some people that donated some stuff, some money. So that year, and they gave $1,800, and there was a question at the meeting of why did we only give $1,800? There was a question at one of the meetings. Why was it only $1,800? Well,
what was the answer?
They said that that's all they wouldn't. They said they didn't have to give that much. So, but it wasn't.
Snap!
But it wasn't a collective decision amongst the members. I remember that it wasn't a decision that we decided. It was a decision that some 2 or 3 of them decided that they were going to do. So,
Pam, you were in the organization. Did you ever see the books?
Yeah, they had records, and some of the meetings that we would go to, we would see the layout of what they had.
And how much did you see in there that was collected?
Well, when I left, they had about $8,000-9,000 in there when I left. So I don't, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I know they've had tailgate. Now that first tailgate was the biggest tailgate they'd had. Okay, because they, and then I know they had a couple of ones out. They missed 2 years. A couple of years after that, it wasn't as big as the first one. I think last year was one of the bigger ones they've had in a while. But it hasn't been as big as the first one. But they also took the fees up from $100 to $155. So even though, and I think that's one reason why they took it up. It was because it wasn't a big turnout as it has been before. But,
Okay, so you guys were on the association. Did you ever question where the money was going?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I hadn't been to an association meeting in I think the last time we did the bylaws, and we did the bylaws. There were certain rules that we had put in place, and we had a lawyer that's with Monroe County High School. Well, she's a lawyer, but she doesn't really practice as much as she used to. But anyway, she got together with us and she helped us with the bylaws and everything. And in the bylaws, they wanted to make the president a lifetime of president. And of course, we said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And so every time we would go to a meeting, Ella, we would decide something, just like with the first homecoming, and I'm going to be honest with you. Me and one of my friends of 25 years, we fell out behind that first homecoming because we had decided in a meeting that we were going to go out and we were going to let everybody pick their spaces. And so she sent it through the internet, and we were like, people were calling me saying, why are we getting this? And there was a conflict with the space. Somebody had paid for their space ahead of another class, but that class had gotten the space they wanted. And I called our president and I asked, what are y'all doing? And he said, well, my secretary couldn't be out there. She had to work. So I decided she wanted to just send up. I said, okay, but that's not what we voted for. We voted in the meeting. I said, whose idea was it to change it? I changed it. You can't do that. You cannot change things when we voted on it. And he would always say in every meeting, I changed it. I decided to do this. And so the last meeting that we went to, that I went to, me and the lady that's a lawyer and a couple of other people, something else, it had happened again. He changed something. And she looked at me and she told me I would not be attending another one of these meetings. And after that, we just didn't come because every time we would vote on something and we would go there, he would change it.
And that's what happened to Miss Joanne. Miss Joanne would ask questions,
Mhm.
and he would talk to her so rude and ugly. She just stopped coming to the meetings as well.
Yep, we lost a lot of members. Now, from what I understand, they said they got members, but somebody that's a member there said, "No, we probably got 10 members." And then I asked them, and they asked me, on Facebook, Crystal said something, and I said the reason why I'm not a member, I haven't been a member for 4 or 5 years, and I told them why, and they would say, "No, that's not the reason." I said, "Yes, it is. That is the reason why I left. It's because you could not tell him anything. He changed you every time you turn around. He changed something. We would vote for something, and then you go back, he would change it." And it was like it was his organization. It wasn't our organization. It wasn't our association. It was his because whatever he said he wanted done, that's what was done. Whatever he said, regardless of whether we voted on it or not. And then I also, and then they took up the fees from 20 when they found out that a lot of us was gonna come back. It was time to vote. Am I right, Tanya? It was time to vote for officers. We said, well, we gonna join because we gonna be there to vote for officers. They took it up from $25 to $100. Just so we can, and when I discussed it, one of the members, she said, but smaller is better. Smaller is better. I said, but y'all want the money. Y'all want our money, but y'all don't want us to come to the meetings and voice our opinions. That's not right. That's not right.
Okay. So am I hearing that you saying, Ella, they don't want our opinions. They just want us to pay. They're not respected. Right.
They
Okay.
don't.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So do they have members? Do they still have members?
Well, they say they do. I don't know. I don't know. But somebody told me said they probably got 10. I don't know. I don't know.
And even the thing about the Alumni Association, when you're in the Alumni Association, it's supposed to be the school you graduated from. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
Okay, so they have started reaching out to people from Excel that graduated from Excel. From my understanding, I think one person from Excel was even the acting secretary one time. They had people from they just reach out to everybody. Anybody that want to join, you can join. But that's not how an alumni association is supposed to work. You're supposed to be an alumni at the school you graduate from.
Yeah, that's what it is. Alumni. You're alumni at Monroe County High School.
So Pam, last week on my show, several people, I asked the question, do you think that we should have a new alumni association? And I have to tell you, several people said yes. What do you think about that?
Well, Ella, we were in the process of starting one. We admitted the high school a couple of times, and I kind of like went back with it, but a lot of people have been inboxing me and calling me saying, let's do this. We're behind you. Let's start another one. I did talk to some members from the alumni. Now they want to get with me and have a conversation about, I guess, about coming together, trying to rectify this one and make this one work. And I did tell myself I would talk to them. But it's not saying that we won't start another one because I feel like, we may need another one. We may need another one just to start fresh, just to say, okay, because there are people that want to support Monroe County High School. There are people that want to help Monroe County High School. And when we made this alumni, that's what it was supposed to be for, to help Monroe County High School, to help them to get things that they needed. We have a lot of people that graduate from Monroe County High School that want to donate, but they're not going to donate because they don't know where the money is going. They don't know what's going. They don't know what's going on. Just like that post that I put on Facebook, I had a lot of people inboxing me saying because I had Monroe County High School alumni, and that's it right there. They were calling me saying, "Is this what? Wait a minute. Is this going to the Alumni Association?" I said, "No, it's going directly to the school." And I mean, I had people just calling me, inboxing me, and I'm thinking, is we're gonna give the money to Miss Barnes by 12 o'clock. That everybody that give the money, then guess what? Your name will be announced during homecoming, halftime at homecoming. And I said they will know that you gave to the school, to the football team. you know, and I said, no, it's not. So you know, a lot of people just want to know where the money is going.
Here's my problem. Yes, even though it's going to the school, I still don't trust it. I don't see where, if we're still having issues with the football team needing stuff, the field house is not the best. What is the school doing with it? Yeah, we're giving it to the school, not giving it to the Alumni Association. They're supposed to put it toward what we say. We got all that, but then what happens after that?
Well, Chitunda, let me ask you a question. If the people were to go in there and say, this is the $500 towards the football, wouldn't it go to the football program?
Yeah, you get a receipt on count right there on site.
Right. That's
Whatever
what I was
you
told.
say it's for, that folder has to be receipted in there, and that's where it goes. And it goes to that particular group. The thing about the school's budget, just like the board's budget, is public.
Mhm.
So there are records at every school that they have.
It might be public, but it's not free. It might be public, but it's not free.
It's supposed to be public where you can see it. They show you, it shows what's taken in and what goes out. So it's public knowledge, you know, what's there. And we have I say when I was there were a lot of people that would come in and just bring money. And now I was always the kind of person, hey, you want to take a picture? We put it on Facebook. We put it in the newspaper. And a lot of times people will say, no, don't put it in the paper, but you can put it on Facebook, or no, don't advertise, or no, don't tell anyone. Just tell, you know, like the coach or the sponsor or whatever. But when you go to the school and you pay, you get a receipt right there because that money has to be deposited that day.
Well,
Crystal says, why they ain't got no white people in it?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? We do have some that want to give. We do. I've had some to contact me that want to give, and I feel like
there are some whites who have given significant amounts of money. But most of them are the ones that say, hey, you don't have to advertise, which, you know, you have to respect that. But I mean, it's all different people give. But again, going back to what you're saying, Ella, about trusting where it's spent, you have to look at, I know Coach Wilkerson was talking about like the things that they need and how much money is spent. A lot of people don't really know how much it takes to run a game or a season for a particular sport. And football, baseball, and softball, they have bills that go on even out of the season. They have to pay the water bill when they water the fields all year long. They have to pay the light bill. Even what we've done at County High for baseball and softball, what we would do when it was off season, we would have the water company turn the water off so they wouldn't incur a bill during the season, which would help with the cost. So bills are still coming, you know, whether it's that season or not. And the lights, no matter what's going on the football field, if somebody comes out there at night, that bill has to be paid for that light bill, and that's football's responsibility.
But isn't all of that in the budget for the school? When you do a budget, don't they account for all of these things?
Yeah, but it depends on your ticket sales. If your ticket sales are not bringing in enough, you have to have outside funding. And I can tell you, baseball, softball, rarely, and volleyball rarely bring in much on their budget to put a dent. Now, track brings in nothing because there are no track meets. Every track event is held outside of school. You have to travel. So you have not only, you know, the bills that come in for lights, water, you have travel expenses. You have to pay the bus drivers. You have to pay them. Sometimes it's a flat rate. Sometimes it's one way, you know, the other way. You have to pay how they drive. Track events, like I said, sometimes are over the weekend. So you have to pay the drivers hotel costs. There are so many different expenses that come in, plus the expenses of the equipment. Just like on football, on the helmets, you have to pay to get so many helmets reconditioned every year. And that means football helmet has a lifetime. So once that lifetime expires, you send those helmets off. Some helmets that can get reconditioned, some helmets they can't. And then you have to buy new helmets. So you have to rotate every year how many you can recondition. And a helmet is $500.
Oh, wow.
So I might buy 5 or 10 this year. I might recondition 5 or 10 next year. And you rotate out until you get enough.
We have a question here, Miss Howard. Who controls the football budget? Who controls that?
the football coach normally, says what he needs, and that's how the year goes. But now, like I said again, it all goes back to your ticket sales. Give you a prime example. If you have everybody has 10 football games, and usually it's 5 home, five away. But the athletic association dictates what your area is based on your enrollment. They dictate who you play because that's how they do every school. So you have a group of teams that come together once during the year, and they decide, okay, what week do we want to play each other? And that's how they set up the season. Based on how they set up that season, you might have 3 home games before you bring in anything. So guess what? You still got to pay miles. You got to pay the bus driver. You got to pay expenses to get to the games, and you haven't brought in a single dollar in ticket sales. So it just depends. Your budget can fluctuate from year to year, but it's primarily transportation, driver costs, expenses for lights, water. You got to pay the officials. The officials are not cheap. And if you cancel a game for whatever reason, those officials still have to be paid because those are state officials. Now the state of Alabama is in an official shortage. So sometimes they are trying this year, bigger schools, they are asking them to go to a Saturday game so they can have enough officials for Friday. Monroe County has been hit with some of their games changed to a Thursday night because they're smaller. So they're trying to spread those few officials out. But again, you still have to pay them. You have to pay them for travel and for officiating to come to your game. So all of that is part of your general budget. And then you may have expenses that you don't anticipate. You may have a jersey that was destroyed or a jersey that didn't get returned. You got to go buy another jersey, some things like that. But that comes every now and then. But those costs are every year.
But I was talking to Durant Odom the other day, and he was telling me about the money that he was raised, and he was telling me, he said, Pam, this is just a lick because he said, because this is it, to run a football program, people don't understand it's expensive.
It is.
He said this is a lick. He said, and it may help him a little bit, but he said we just got to do better by our sports because we're not getting the funds that we need. And he said, and the revenue is not coming in because people are not supporting our boys.
But you know what? You know what the problem is? You know what I have to say to that? Yeah, people may not be supporting it because they don't know where the money's going. So if we're going to talk about that people aren't supporting it, let's talk about why people aren't supporting it. Let's have that conversation. So Kim has a question here. Who controls the funds? So whenever we got this pot of money, who gets their hand on it first? Chitunda.
Which pot you talking about?
Okay. Anything like, let's say the money that's going into the school. All the $500 that Pam is saying that she's requesting. Okay, classes, pay your $500. Let's, help the school, all classes. That money is put in the hands at the school. I want it for football. I want it for football. Let's say 10 classes, pay $500. And that total right there goes to the school. Who at that point decides how it's going to be spent?
The coach, based on the needs and based on what incurring bills they have coming in. Like I said, it could be if the officials haven't been paid, they would take part of that money to pay officials. Travel comes up, you pay for the travel. If when you pay for the travel, for the bus mileage, you got to pay for the gas, you got to pay for the driver. So all of that can come out of there. Now, unless you specifically say, hey, I want this to go toward this earmark it, then it's for the expenses of that particular team. Just like I said for track, if anybody, I recall anybody in the whole time I've been at county, how that ever actually gave money, financial support toward track. Usually for track, we have people that will help feed the track team, like when they would go different places, and stuff like that. But the track team, when I was there, the way we kept them abreast is to take the parking for football season, and that would help track during their season because, like I said, they didn't bring in money. For football, basketball games, volleyball runs the concession stand. That's their money because they don't bring in a lot of things. And you're looking at $8 a ticket or $7 a ticket, whatever it's been. I think it's $8 now. And this is one of the things that me and Mr. Woody tried to get the district to look at years ago, but they would not go for it. If you go to Mobile Christian School to a ball game, you're going to pay $10 a park and you're going to pay $10 for a ticket and ain't nobody asking questions. You come to
Mm-hmm.
County High and pay $8 and $3 to park, $5 to park, they complaining and cussing you out.
Yes,
And they
definitely.
get their $20 from every person that comes at Mobile Christian. And they can pay their bills at Mobile Christian. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of the difference. We've been asking, Mr. Wood and I have been asking for years to increase the ticket sales, the cost to $10 for athletic events. But everybody in the district has to agree again. That unity.
So here's the thing. Everybody keeps talking about what we need for County High. Where's the budget? Where is the budget for what you need? It's like we're just throwing money in a hole. What, it doesn't end? What's the end? What's the bottom? What's the total amount that is needed? How much has been paid and what is left? And what are we going to do to get it? I break it down. How do I know you need $500 per helmet? How does the average person know that? How do we know how much your light bill is? Because we could be talking about fundraising from now until Jesus comes back and never reach our goal. What is the goal? Because I know on the show, the coach said $100,000.
Right. A team's budget is really determined based on what you spent the previous year and any incurring costs you have coming in this year. So you have you ever seen
a budget? Have you ever seen a budget for the high school?
When I left, my goal was to combine all of the athletics because I knew certain sports struggled to have one budget and to have one budget for everybody to purchase what they needed. So that's when I left, and as far as I know, that didn't get established. Say for instance, like for baseball, softball, and football, they all buy the same paint because you have to paint the fields.
Right.
Okay. So my goal was to establish one budget. So we would look at how much do we spend every year on paint, and we allot that amount in our budget for paint. But like
Lost her again. She'll be back. Because I can't. Grace Property has a question here. Is there separate accounting for football and each organization? I think there is. I think each organization has its own bank account. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Each account.
Yeah, I think so. Oh my gosh! Listen, how much does the state contribute? That's a good question. That's a very good question.
But that's what she said earlier, that's determined by the number of students in the school. So it's different for each school.
And when we were in school, we had a lot of kids at Morrow County High School. Now, you don't have as many kids in the school as it was when we was in school. And then also, like she was saying earlier, the revenue. You got to think about, we had Georgia Pacific, we had Alabama River Pub, we had ARN, we had all these other schools contributing to our schools. But we don't have that anymore. All that is gone.
Crystal.
You can't help but read Crystal's comments and laugh. Crystal said, with $20 at Mobile Christian, we got to buy wigs, bags, rims, and liquor.
Lord. Crystal, and you know what? I guess they can give $20 if, they can do all that. So, especially ones that... Oh my gosh, you can't do it but laugh at
That's it.
Yes.
But you know what, guys? This is a good eye-opening conversation because a lot of people that are watching this broadcast had no idea that Morrow County High School was in this bad a shape. And I am gonna always point finger at leadership because there's no accountability. I'm still trying to understand who's controlling the money. I still don't know the answer to that. And I've had like 4 shows. I'm trying to understand. Money flows into the school. They do what? Deposit it into an account? And then the school board decides how it's spent? Or does
I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works.
Okay.
Because I think like I said, I work with the Booster Club, me and Cassandra. So when we give money to the school, it goes to the football team. So whatever the coach needs, the coach goes and get that money and buys what he needs. So the school doesn't, have anything to do with that budget. All of that is left on the football coach. So like she said, you can earmark it to where you want it to go if you want it to go to a specific thing. So if we turn something in and we say, okay, we're turning $1,000, we want football helmets. So that $1,000 has to be spent on exactly football helmets. But if you just turn in the money in, the coach can use the money for the light bill purchase whatever the football team needs, but it has to be used for the football team.
Mm-hmm.
So Miss Howard, I'm glad you're back because I want to get some understanding right here today, because I want to make sure that the viewers understand. When, like, let's say, for example, let's say I give $1,000 check today and I make it out to MCHS and I say, and I earmark it for cheerleaders, or let's say football team. I want to give $1,000 to the football team. I give that goes into the account for the football team. Yes. Okay.
Right.
Now, how do I know that they use it for what I asked for?
If
How do I know?
If you earmark it for something specific for, say, cheerleaders, and you want them to purchase something specific, then you come back to that coach or that sponsor and make sure they purchase what you've asked for.
Okay, there we go.
Now, in my opinion, this is what I've told people in the past.
Okay.
If you're skeptical about giving money and you want to do something with that money, by all means, go purchase it first and bring it to them.
And that's
Don't
allowed.
even deposit it.
And that's allowed.
Give it, because that gives them peace of mind, and that helps to know that what that money was spent for was used in the right way.
Right.
And is that allowed? Is it okay for
Yes,
me to
that's
go and
allowed.
buy a helmet? It is.
Now, if they're gonna buy helmets, they have to make sure they buy whatever's regulation. So they have to check with the coach on that to make sure they buy the right ones.
So I could call Coach Robert Wilkerson up and say, hey, what helmet specification do we need? Do you have one picked out? Oh, yes, Ms. Ella, we do. Okay, can you tell me which one it is? Because I want to get 10 of them. Right. And he's going to say, this is the one. And I could literally purchase 10 and have those helmets delivered to the high school.
Right.
Okay. And also, you got to think about also a couple of years ago, Titus Howard, he bought uniforms. He specified that he wanted uniforms. And they did. They bought the uniforms that he had paid for. They bought them because that's what he wanted the money to be used for. So,
and do they still have those uniforms?
That should be the same ones they're still using.
How is it that I heard that the kids were allowed to take uniforms home and they didn't return them?
Well, they weren't allowed, but they took them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I think now they put numbers on them. And if your number's not returned, then you have to pay for the uniform.
Now they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so there are safeguards around that. When I was there, I knew that was an issue in the past, like kids, who be seniors want to take their uniforms, things of that nature. And I would always tell the coaches, like after a game, those kids don't wear that uniform home. They take it off, go ahead and put it in the washer, get it washed. You know where it is.
Yeah,
and they leave it there.
And that's what happened when my sons were playing basketball. They would have to leave the uniform there. The coaches watched the uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
The parents didn't watch the uniforms. The coaches did. So that way you didn't have to worry about misplacing anything.
And so you have to worry about them becoming damaged, drying, numbers coming off, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So we have a question.
To answer your question, yes, we have our own funding, but all the Booster Club money goes directly to the school. We have an account with the school.
Kim makes a good point because there was no washer and dryer.
Well, somebody
there was a washer and dryer. It just tore up recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And somebody has donated one, I think.
I did see that. So, okay. So you said the Booster Club now the Booster Club is directly, their funds go into the school. And how do they, let's say if you wanted to get something, LaTanya, for the Booster Club, how do you then get that money back? Because the Booster Club isn't sitting there holding on to the money, guys. Let's make that clear. The Booster Club is not getting funds, holding on to it. They have to turn it in after every game. Yes, LaTanya?
True.
Well, we do the parking for the football team. So we give the money to the principal, either assistant principal, whoever's there. The Booster Club also does the away side for the concession stand, and that money is turned in as well.
Okay.
So
now this money is not earmarked. Is it assumed that it is football, right? Is that correct?
We have an account with the school.
Okay.
But it's the football Booster Club account.
Who controls the account? Who controls the account at the school? Who controls it?
Everything goes through the principal or either Miss Barnes.
So they're the ones that control the funds that come into the school.
But they don't control the funds. We just turn the funds in. Now we can go out there and get whatever we want to purchase something, but you have to turn your receipts and everything back into Miss Barnes to make sure you purchase what you said you was purchasing.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is whenever there's a bank account, Miss Howard, at the school, and money is going in there, who are they accountable to for those funds? Meaning, who's watching the statement? Who's managing that money? Is that a school board function or is that a principal function?
The principal and the bookkeeper.
Ah, okay.
And like I said, the coach or the sponsor, whatever that sport is, they decide what expenses they need to meet, what needs to be bought, or things of that nature. But they have that report, a monthly report.
Okay.
And let me ask you something. And a check or anything can't be written unless the bookkeeper or the principal approve it, right?
The principal has to approve it. The principal and the sponsor or the coach decide what needs to be done. And then the principal approves. You have to get principal approval first because you have to write a requisition, which means you have to have written proof of what you're going to purchase, how much it's going to cost ahead of time. So you can't buy something if you don't have a requisition to purchase it. You can't just go say, hey, give me $500 out of this account. I need to go buy this. You have to go price it first and then turn that in.
And that's how we are. When I was here in middle school, like if we needed to do something for, like if I had a fundraiser for my students to go on a field trip and stuff, I had to turn it in. I had to turn in everything that I was gonna do. What we was going to, like with my kids, we raised our money, but we had to make an account for if we raised $1,500, we had to show what we did with that $1,500. We got to pay. If we went to eat pizza, we had to bring back the receipt. We ate pizza. If we went to the bowling, we had to bring back a receipt showing how much we spent. We have to give an account of what it ain't like you can just go in there and don't bring in a receipt. You got to give a receipt for what you spend.
So if I'm Coach Wilkerson, Miss Howard, and I want to know, hey, buddy, how much money is coming into this school for my football program? He can go to the principal and ask that.
Right. He can actually go to the bookkeeper and look at the account.
So Coach Wilkerson, for you, I would, if I were you, I would go to this principal and the bookkeeper and say, look, people have been giving. How much money has the football program collected? They can give him that answer, right?
Right.
I want to know then, because who decides if it comes in for the football program, who has to tell the principal how to spend it? The football coach, right?
Right.
Okay.
With principal approval.
Okay. So if the coach needs helmets, the principal can say, no, you don't.
Unless there's not enough money in the budget. That's usually the only time the principal says no, when it's not money there. Now, there have been times where the principal, they need something, and the principal can say, no, you can't purchase it because it's not enough. You can get a small amount. You can change how much you're going to purchase. But usually, there's not many times the principal's going to tell anybody no, because that's their budget. That's part of their expenses.
So then what I would tell Coach Wilkerson to do is go to the school. I know Duran gave $7,000 the other day from the GoFundMe. All these people are going to pay $500 for the homecoming to go toward the school. So then at the end of, say, the year, I should be able to see an entire accounting of how much money came in earmarked for the football. So then I want to see how much you got and where did it go. So the school board doesn't know that. That's a function of the principal.
Well, now the accounts at each school are still under the school board. So you can still look. Like I said, your expenses that you have or your budget for the year is based really on what you spent the previous year. So at the end of the year, you can look and say, hey, this is what we brought in, this is what we spent, and then we can go from there. And you have what's left in your account.
Okay. So then, in other words, the school board is the one that holds the school accountable for money that they've received. I see. All right. So we're going to move on. Crystal has a question here. What about the grants for which Monroe County schools were eligible for? Do you know anything about the grants that are coming through or that are applied for? Ms. Howard, is that something that you would know?
When I was there, I actually had a grant writing team. I sent few teachers to go learn how to write grants because I had been trained myself. So I wanted to use that because I knew there were several places and several things that the school needed that we did not have funding for, and we weren't getting regular funds for. So that was my way of supplementing the things that we need. So we wrote lots of grants when I was there for different things, mostly academics. There were not a lot of athletic grants. I know the State Department has been trying for the past, and this is the State Athletic Association, has been trying for the past, I think, 3, maybe 4 years to get athletic trainers at each campus. But this is a person that's employed to be a trainer, like when a student gets hurt in an event. Because sometimes, especially with us now, Monroe County has just been blessed to get a new ambulance service. So there have been times in the past we didn't have an ambulance who could come to our game. They might have been at another game, or they had to share. If there were 4 home games in the area, they might have had to go to one school and couldn't go to the other 3 schools. So there were times where we didn't have a trainer. We did have a young lady who worked through Health Action who was volunteering to come be a trainer at some of my events. She actually came to football, basketball, and whatever else she could. But from what I understand, she's no longer in the area. But so the athletic association saw the need because there were a lot more students, especially with all of these deaths where students get overheated, heat exhaustion. They are trying to get trainers in place on campuses so they can have someone there to help with injuries. But that is a hired employee, and that's something they're trying to get. That's not anything that's set in stone right now because a lot of the colleges don't even offer the degree. So they're trying to go through the college system to get this set up so they can have people in place who they can say, hey, every district can have, or every school can have an athletic trainer. So that's one thing that the state is trying to do. Like I said, and that's the state Alabama High School Athletic Association trying to do through some grants. But that's not funding to say your school is going to get money to go hire somebody.
Because I see there are different agencies and places that help troubled schools. And Kim asked a good question here. Does the state or any government entity fund sports events?
No. The state does not fund sports. The federal government does not fund sports. They fund academics only. And if you're a Title I school, you get so much Title I funds based on your enrollment.
Because I understand that the school board does, request grants. They do apply for grants and are granted them. Does this do they ever get grants on behalf of you guys?
It depends on what it is. The money that came from the track was money from the state for capital outlay, capital improvements or building improvements to your campus, because you can't a school can't improve their own campus and build something on their campus. It has to go through the board and it has to be bidded out. So you can't just go and say, I'm gonna build a structure on this campus.
So what was the purpose of doing it if we're not using it for track meets? We're not even using it.
Like I said, there was no, how can I say it? There was no, when the track became where they were starting to tear up the ground, there was one estimate that was given. As they saw the things that they had to redo and had to redesign, more costs incurred. So I think the cost went up so high that the conversation about the track equipment was all pushed to the side because it became so massive in amount of how much money was put into that track. So you got to look at, track equipment is not cheap, but building that track, I believe the first estimate might have been $4 to $6 million, but there was a lot more than that put into that track. And so
you were breaking up. Say that again. You were breaking up.
I think the estimate, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first estimate to build the track was between $4 and $6 million. But as they saw things that had to be done, you have to have bathrooms that are regulation. You have to have the sidewalk was built, things of that nature. The fencing had to be redone. The trees, because of the interference in the stadium, and how the stadium is built. Because that was one of the questions I had. What were they going to do with the bleachers? Because the bleachers are so close to where the track area is. So all of that had to be taken into consideration, plus paying, the contractors who did everything. And I think the cost got so high that there was no room to even look at equipment once that track was completed.
See, this is
And
my
that should
problem.
have
I
been
don't
part
think
of the plan from the beginning.
money is the issue. I think competence is an issue.
Could be.
I just I think competence is an issue because who's negotiating all this that we would spend $4 million on a track that we're not using?
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense to me. That was ass backwards. Why would we do that? And
You
then
may
now the
think
kids can't benefit from it. We could have used
right.
that money somewhere else.
You may think this is crazy, but Coach Wood and I had no say so in how that track was built.
Say that again. I missed you.
I said, you
I
may
missed that.
think this is crazy, but Coach Wood and I had no say so in how that track was built.
Who had say so then?
The contractors and the board. So that's why I kept asking the questions. Where is the funding coming for the equipment? When is the equipment coming? I took it upon myself when I would go to track meets to go look at other districts and how their tracks were set up. Even the last place that we went to a track meet when I was the interim principal, they had a facility that was ran by the city, and the city helped fund the bill for the track, so the schools would not incur the cost. But every high school in that area could benefit from the track. And what they did is they let the schools run the track meets to help pay off their debt in a sense. You know, the students would put the hurdles out. The students had areas of storage. The parents would run the concession stand. The schools would have to purchase their own concessions and run it. They let the schools have autonomy over the area in exchange for the city helping out in the expenses.
Okay, so let's get on the other side of this. We've clearly identified the problem. We may even have created a situation where we've identified the problem makers. So here's the thing. Let's talk about what we need to see next. Let's start with the Alumni Association. What do we want to see from the Alumni Association that would make you, LaTanya, Pamela, feel comfortable to rejoin them? What would you want to see as opposed to starting your own? Can we work out an agreement where you just get back with them instead of starting a new one?
The agreement for me would be new officers.
That's the first thing I was going to say.
Okay.
New officers.
New
All
officers.
new officers.
She didn't even have to think about it.
And we
She
both
didn't
were
even have
thinking,
to pray about
we
that
were
thing.
both thinking
No.
the same thing. New officers,
New officers.
because if you go in there now, and we tried it. We tried it over and over again. Nothing changed. You know, nothing at all changed. And
Mm-mm.
you know, so we just know when you have these lifetime officers, it's not good.
And honestly,
Now,
nobody's gonna join
okay.
as long as Percy is the president.
Nobody.
You're not gonna get anyone to join
Mm-mm.
Why?
because
Because
as Sam stated earlier, he's a dictator.
he's
It's
a
his way or no
dictator.
way.
Mm-hmm. He said
Nobody's gonna join.
he will say he's not, but if you were a member of the association before and you seen that when you went to the meetings and you would discuss things and when you came back to the meetings, um, something would change because he wanted it to. He felt like he didn't want it that way. What do you call that? I mean, and it happened too many times. Too many times. And so we just couldn't deal with it anymore. So we said, just let him have this one. Just let him have it. And it's also been stated to me that smaller is better. I mean, that means that, you know, when you have a few officers, a few members, they make decisions they want to make. People don't have a say so over anything. So and it was a lot of bickering before. It was a lot of arguments, and it was like and the reason the arguments was because everybody knew that when we came back to the meetings, you know, that's not what we said that we were gonna do before. But then when we come back to the meeting, something different was done. You know, and
Now
so
you said new officers. He's not the only
Mhm.
officer.
Mm-mm.
Are you saying that you need all of them to go and start over, or just him?
we need to start over for real because you know all the officers that are there, they've been in office since we started except for the treasurer. Everybody that's there has been in there. So, and this was started in 2018. And who has lifetime members, lifetime officers? No organization that I know of.
Mm-mm.
So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Do you think there's an issue with having someone on the board who's also on the Alumni Association? Do you see that as a conflict of interest?
Well,
I haven't actually seen anything
I
wrong
don't.
that Miss Kidd did or anything. And basically, even though she's on the association, she's not making any decisions. The
And plus, she's
decisions
a
are
Monroe
all
County High
being
School.
made by one person.
She's a Monroe County High School alumni, so
Right.
she has a right to be a member of that association, and she can hold her office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As long as nothing is going.
So in other
Nothing.
words, you're saying, Ella, I don't want to be a part of that association as it stands today. But you also said that Percy has requested to come speak with you. Do you have any idea what he wants to speak to you about?
No, she had. Let me get it. He hasn't requested. It has been asked me by one of the members that they have talked to him, and he said yes, I will sit down and talk to her, because when I was telling them, that I about things that how I felt about things, she said y'all need to sit down, y'all need to talk. She said we need to sit down and talk. We don't need to just go out like this. We need to just sit down and talk and see if we can rectify things and come to a common ground. And I told her, I said, well, I'm willing to talk to him. I'm willing to sit down and talk to him. That's not saying that we won't start another organization or whatever, but I'm willing to sit down and talk. But I know that we have sat down and talked before, but and he's not. It's just, I think it's a fact. In my opinion, I think that he don't want a woman telling him what to do.
Ooh, that's a big.
I really do.
That's an issue.
Mhm.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say pretend you did decide to start a new
Exactly,
association. Crystal says disband or new officers. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
But the thing about it is the fact that, the only reason things couldn't move with that association was because of the person that was the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
If you get that leadership out the way, it may move.
Yes. People are gonna join again.
Yeah, they're
Once.
gonna go join. And when I put that post up, people thought I was the president. I said, nope, I'm not the president. I said, I'm just that's not even don't have anything to do with the association. It doesn't have anything to do with it. I said,
So
it's just something I put out there for the alumni.
Right. So Miss Howard, what is your feeling about any organization? Let me ask you a question. Were there other organizations at County High that was running events in the name of the school, fundraising? What about the PTO? I understand there was a parent teacher organization at County High. What did they ever hold any events, fundraising events?
Yeah, the PTO normally has the fair that they have every year. They didn't have the fair this year because that's their primary fundraiser because of ICE. When ICE started deporting people in January, the guy that runs the fair has a lot of immigrants. So he was not able to come because he did not have the personnel to run the fair. So they did not have that this year. And usually the fair we have to schedule a year ahead of time. So, and we usually try to keep it close to spring break because it brings in a significant amount of money. And the PTO normally helps with things for teachers, teacher appreciation, incentives for students, things of that nature. So that's what they help for. But we have not had, well, I say when I was there, we had regular meetings from time to time as needed, but it had become a little toxic itself and people stopped coming.
Okay, you were breaking up a little. So I want to make sure I understand what you just said. Please repeat yourself. What did you say?
We had meetings from time to time. They were more regular in the previous years, but the meetings had become a little toxic and people stopped coming. Last time I was there in the meeting, I think Ms. Watson, you were there, I believe. It was probably maybe 10 people, maybe so 10 to 15 at that meeting. We were transitioning officers then. So after that, we transition officers, and those officers just meet as they need to decide whatever's needed for the school. And usually whatever the school asks, like I said, because they have that one fundraiser, they give, but PTO is not a big. They don't do a lot of fundraising. Like I said, that fair is the only thing they had. Because you can't get enough people to come out regularly to do everything. And you look at the boosters, the PTO, like Miss Watson. I think you in every organization there was that was helping the school. You and football, basketball
She's a
parents. You got the
champion.
same.
You have no choice. You don't have no other parents.
Right, you
That's
got
your
the same
problem.
parents and everything trying to do everything. So you're wearing people out, in a sense. But
That's like this year. I don't even have a child playing football, but I go out there and help with parking on Friday.
right,
And you have
right.
parents coming. I'm dropping my child off. They don't even stay to the games to watch their own children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus. See, that's that I have no patience for.
I don't either.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. So I want to, because I don't want to let this moment bypass. You said that the PTO, I know they didn't do it this year, but you said that they bring in a significant amount.
Yeah, that fair
what's
brings in a lot of
significant?
money. Mm-hmm.
Like how much?
Um,
10,000,
it
15,000,
depends on the
20,000?
weather. It depends on the weather too, because if it rains, they have a contract with you, and if it rains one night, what they do is they take off a larger percentage.
Oh, she.
So, I was going to say that significant amount, where does it go? Because we're needing significant amounts. And if you have a function that brings in significant amounts, where did it go? Because I just what rubbed me the wrong way is when one certain set of people blamed for the failure of the high school. And that's what prompted me to start doing these shows, because it's not just the people not coming to the games. That's not the only problem that you guys have. You have people that are responsible to do certain jobs that are not doing it. Let's hold them accountable. Let's not blame it all on people not coming to the games. All right. So what I was going to ask you, I got to get this in because I don't want you to pop out again.
Okay.
So this significant amount of money that comes from the PTO, from the fair, where would that go? Where is that earmarked to go?
That whatever the school needs. The
So
fair,
it's miscellaneous. That could go anywhere.
Yeah, it can go anywhere. It can go for athletics. It can go for, and normally they don't help with athletics. Most time it is academics. That's really what their goal is, academics. So I could say the fair, they usually have a contract with us, and I think the last time I remember, I believe it was like 20% of whatever they raise, which they raise a lot, because it's not only like ticket sales to come into the fair where you buy your armbands, it's also for the food that they sell, and they sell a lot of it because people come for the food and don't even stay for the fair sometimes. So you can get, for the fair, you can get anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000.
Wow.
From just that one event, and it depends on the weather. If it rains, you get a smaller proportion because they can't pay their workers for that night. So it depends on the weather. It's normally Tuesday through Saturday, Friday and Saturday, the biggest nights. And all the schools help out because we advertise and we tell the other schools, hey, bring your kids or have a night where you promote it at your school. So they do that and they help.
So that hurt County High when that didn't happen this year.
Yeah.
So that hurt them. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to get on the other side of this because we need to wrap this up. We got to figure out what it is that we need. If the school board were watching this right now tonight, what would we say to them as far as what we need? I want to start with you, LaTanya. We're going to take one at a time because we want to make it clear what this post and what this program is all about tonight. What do we need from the school board? You're first.
Well, me personally, I'm bigger on academics than sports.
Me too.
I feel that they need more help with the kids as far as, which Ms. Howard did bring in someone to help with the ACT. So they need, the school board need to bring in more materials and more people to help the students score higher on the ACT, because the ACT is where your scholarships come from. So academics is something that they need to really push at County High.
Okay. Pamela, what do you want from the school board?
I agree with her because Tanya and I had discussed that earlier. We need some. We have a lot of educators in Monroe County. We have a lot of retired educators. We have a lot of people. We need somebody to come in and tutor not only the high school, but our elementary school kids are struggling some. I mean, we just need some tutors around the county to come out and help our kids. And like she said, we need some tutors for the ACT. And I was telling her, I said, that's one thing about having a Alumni Association. if you had association that was willing to get tutors to come out, and especially to tutor the kids and get them ready for the ACT, that would help out a whole lot. Because without academics, I tell you, Kaylet goes to the high school all the time, and she tell me all the time. She said, "We're focusing on sports," but she said, "Without academics, sports is not. They can't go anywhere with sports
Right.
if they don't have their grades where they need to be. Forget about the sports." She said,
Right.
"Because sports is not gonna do anything for their future if they don't have their grades up. So we need to focus more on our academics and make sure they got the grades they need. So if they do plan on going to college and playing sports, they'll have their grades right and they'll continue to get their grades right. Because I know of a couple of Monroe County people, kids who have gone off to college, and they go to a 2-year college or whatever, and they end up coming back home because you know what, they don't keep their grades up. And
Oh,
so we've got to focus on the importance of having the grades so they can play sports if they want to, and in their future is not about the sports, it's about their academics. So
yeah. So, Miss Howard, what do you think? What do we need more from the school board?
Consistency, equity for all schools. If one school is in need, don't ignore the other's needs.
yes.
I mean, treat everybody the same. Give them what they need to excel and do well.
Do you think that they're neglecting County High?
In the past, before the superintendent, because he's only been in since what? April, May. I could say County High has not gotten their fair share of what they need. And I mean it's all the way around, but they're not the only ones. Like I said, equity is huge. Everybody's not getting what they need, but now all of it, I can't lay the blame on the board because some of that is the vision of the leaders of the schools. The leader of the school has to take charge and has to push that vision, and they have to keep promoting better and the vision that they see for those students, and they have to keep saying it, and they have to keep saying it, and they have to keep saying it. And that not only goes for the school board, the community as well. I could think back on times that I asked your brother Terry Johnson. He got a group of men together for me because I told him, we were having problems in the community. Every time there's a problem in the community, it becomes a problem in the school. We see it, it bleeds over into the schools. And so I was like, my guys, my boys, they need somebody. They need some strong men to look up to. And I think we had probably 10 to 12 men that would come out once a month and speak to them whole group. And then whenever one or two of those wanted to come out individually, they could speak to them. And that's why I started the Big Brothers Big Sisters at the school. And I wanted to pair up those kids with somebody they could talk to because a lot of them didn't have father figures.
Right.
And that was a huge piece that's missing with our young men.
Yeah.
So, and then my girls started asking for somebody. So, I started pairing some of them up with some people. And that never got further than our matches that we had because that's when I left then. So my girls never got matched up with their big sisters.
Wow.
So you have to, the leader has to push the vision to get it out there, because if the leader doesn't have the vision, school board's not going to back you because you don't have anything to back.
Yep.
So
that's true.
Crystal thinks that the school board is neglecting County High because it's majority Black. Do you think that plays into the decision that they make?
I believe some decisions,
yes,
because you can say Shields is the same thing.
Yes.
I mean, look at the numbers. They don't
That's
lie.
true. That's true.
And do you think that's going to be a problem now that the whites outweigh the Blacks in the school board now? How's it going to get better? Maybe they'll do better than having all Black board. Maybe they will want more money for the schools. How do we know they won't?
Yeah, time will tell. You always tell a person by their fruit. That's what the word says. So you got to produce fruit. We got to see some action.
Good question, Kim. Are there any schools in the system that receive more than MCHS?
Now that's
And who is it?
the funding that they receive, like Title I funding, depends on enrollment. So yeah, that always happens. But it depends on how many students they have in that school. How many ELL students you have, which we don't have many. How many special service students you have. So that number is calculated based on your enrollment. So that I don't think that's an equity thing. And that it's an equity piece in the sense that they're trying to make sure you get the same amount for every child. But every school does not have the same enrollment. So yeah, it's a great difference in how much they receive, but that's based solely on enrollment.
Crystal said 44% comes from income, sales, and other taxes. States use funding formulas to distribute money based on student needs, district wealth, and enrollment.
Yeah.
Now
Property
we're getting an
taxes.
understanding. Okay. District wealth. What is the district wealth in Monroe County?
I don't remember the number they gave, but they had 2 budget hearings. I think the last one was the 11th, but they give you like the amount that's in each primary account that the board has. And all of that money, just like everything for athletics, everything for the schools, that money is budgeted for certain things that has to be spent back out. But I don't recall the number, but I know it should be. It's definitely in the board minutes, but I don't know if that part is made public on the website or not.
Would you say Excel would get more money than County High? And if so, why would they?
Yeah, because of the enrollment.
The enrollment is so
Yes.
high.
It's much higher.
So when our kids are going to Excel, we're actually hurting County High.
Losing
Is that
money.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
Losing money. And you not only lose money for the students, you lose teacher units. So every so many students you lose is another teacher slot that's lost. So in the state of Alabama, 20 students accrues to 1 teacher unit. So if you lose 20 kids in the course of a year, that's 1 teacher slot that's lost.
But can you blame people for sending their kids to Excel?
Well, that's a multifaceted answer. I can't blame any parent who wants their child to have something better.
Right.
However, there have been times that it's been promoted to send your kids there just so they won't be at County High.
Wait a minute. What do you mean it's been promoted? Who's promoting that?
People in the community. Oh, you won't have to deal. Okay, give you a prime example. You won't have to deal with Miss Howard. Take your kid to Excel.
They've said that, or you just
Yes.
Well, I took
your kids won't have to get disciplined. Take them to Excel and they'll work with you or whatever. You know, you won't have to deal with this or that. Your child's not gonna get a scholarship at County High. Take them to Excel. You know, things like that have been seen.
That's not true.
That's what people say.
Definitely not.
And some listen, some don't. So, we know the truth, LaTanya, but you know, people out they listen to that kind of stuff. And just give you another example. The last year I was there, I can't remember the exact number, but I know we had three students who had basketball scholarships. We had a couple who had track scholarships at Reed. Matter of fact, Reed gave several. We had several athletes, and I think that was the most number of athletes we had to get scholarships in years. It might have been 10 to 12 get college scholarships for athletics for different things.
So, Ms. Howard, let me ask you a question. I want you to pitch to the people right now. When it's time to enroll your kids, they gave you the boot. Why would you encourage people to send their kids to County High?
I would encourage anybody to send their child to a school that's there for the student to make sure they're going to have that knowledge that they need past high school. You got to have caring teachers. You got to have a school that cares about more than just your child's feet on that court or their hands on that football field.
Yes.
And if you cannot make sure that child has the character to be a person who a coach will want to be on their college team or their professional team, what are you educating them about? I mean, you got to educate the whole child, mind, body, and soul.
Child.
You got to get that character intact.
Yeah.
And that when that character gets intact, those students will start thinking along the lines, I got to get my academics where it
Mm-hmm.
needs to be. You get
That's
that academics in shape, they're going to go out there and they're going to excel.
Do you think that's evident at County High? Do you think that exists there?
I can't tell you what's there now, but I can tell you what was there when I
Ah,
was there.
okay. Why is Excel better? Grace Property wants to know. Why are everybody so excited about Excel? What are they doing that County High can't do?
who
Nothing.
says it's better?
That's what I want to know. Who says it's better?
Who
Right.
They
says
said
it's better?
They said,
parents get
why is
mad.
Excel?
Like she said, parents get mad. And I'm leaving I ain't taking my child. I'm gonna take my child to Excel. You know, like, you know, and I don't understand why they keep doing that, because that doesn't mean that they go get any more loving or teachers or caring teachers as they did at Monroe County High School.
Now,
So
I took my child to Excel and he hated it. But I didn't take him. I took him because he was getting in trouble at school. But when he got there, he came home and said, Mom, everything they doing at Excel, I already learned at the middle school. So he was actually
Mm,
ahead of the kids at
mm,
Excel. But people don't know the whole
wow.
story until you experience it yourself. And I experienced that myself with him. So now, he's back in my role.
So is it possible that most of the money is going to Excel?
Again, it's most of it because of the enrollment.
Because of the enrollment.
They
Gotcha.
have the highest enrollment in the district.
They have the highest enrollment in the district, and they're grade B. I understand. They're B.
And they're K-12. So that, K-12
Mhm.
is at their school.
So they have K through 12 at one school?
Yes. At
Yes.
Excel.
Oh my
Excel,
gosh, I
J.U.
didn't know
Blackson,
that.
and Shields are K-12.
it's really overcrowded, isn't it?
I don't know if it is right now. Because like I said, enrollments have dropped everywhere.
Monroe County relies very heavily on state and federal funding with limited local revenue due to lower property wealth. All right. Let's give a message. We've talked to the school board. Let's talk to the school administration. Starting with you, Pamela. What do we want them to do?
Want them to be better leaders,
Okay.
and want them to hold their teachers accountable, and make their teachers do what they need to do in order to make our students better. I work at a school now, and Monroe County is a good school system, but I feel like the leaders need to, and Shatana, from what I understand, you did this, need to go into the teachers' classrooms, see what's going on in there. They need to walk around the schools and make sure they're doing their job, you know, because if they're not doing their job in the classroom, then, our kids are going to be lacking.
Okay.
Don't sit in the office and just watch cameras. Walk in those classrooms. Make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do to make sure our kids getting what they need.
Amen. Latanya, what do you think we need from the school administration?
Basically what Pam said, because I work in the school myself, and you got to show that you are concerned and that you care about these kids, especially at County High. The kids are not happy. The leadership there is basically like a bully to the kids now. It's like no caring. You have kids that, they're scared to go to school. They're scared to even talk. Fear of going to ISS. I mean, you got to show that you are there for the kids and not just someone there to basically bully them every day. They're not going to learn if they're being bullied by administration. So that's one thing that County High is missing from Ms. Howard. She did care about the kids. So that's a problem at County High. The leadership is not where it needs to be anymore.
Miss Howard, if you were given the opportunity to go back to County High, would you?
A lot of people have asked me that question. And there will be a huge price tag. And I ain't talking about just money. I mean, because like I said, this is not the first time they've tried to do this, but the second time and they actually succeeded. I don't know. I don't know. Because at some point, I had to think my mental health is more important I would love to be back with those kids because I do miss them. And I love to be back in that environment. Like I said, I taught alongside several of those teachers, but it would have to be some significant changes before I would say yes to that question.
That's fair. Do you feel wronged by the school board?
Definitely. Definitely.
And it's because
the way that it was done, it was like everything was done in secret. It was manipulative. They took into account what they wanted to do without considering even my livelihood. I lost a lot of income because I was demoted from one level to another level. I mean, they had no thought to what this would do to my child. And see, that's why I keep in mind how you treat other people's children. She was a product of Monroe County High. She was a graduate. And so it was bittersweet when she walked across the stage, because little did I know the next year I would be walking out with her. So, I mean, it was traumatic for a little while. I had to get to myself, and hibernate and go into deep prayer. I
bet.
I did not talk to a lot of people for a good while. I stayed to myself. Even last year when I was at the middle school, I stayed to myself. Because I just had to work through and ask God what was happening, what was he doing. And he told me there were things greater. He told me to think higher. And he told me he sent me there for a purpose. And when I left there, people would see what the purpose was. So all of that has come to pass, and he's told me things, that are going to come forth in the future. And one thing that he always told me when this started, especially during that time when I was told you can appeal, you can reapply, he told me, he said, hey, I need you to stop being quiet and use your voice. And so that's my goal, to use my voice and to not allow another female leader to be put in the same situation I was put in.
Amen.
Because I
That's
felt,
right.
I started questioning my my credentials, my abilities, my self-worth. And I was like, how dare they put me in this situation to question what I had a heart for. And it hurt, and it still does. But like I said, I give anything for those kids, because that's where I felt I should have been. And I told the superintendent before he left, I told the current superintendent, we may have went from a 58 to a 76, but I guarantee you we would have had an A that past year. That next year coming, we would have had an A, because the momentum was there. And they stopped that progress. So would I go back? Hey, I don't know if that price could be paid. I don't know.
So I want to do something, and I'm putting you on the spot, and I did not tell you I would do this. I want you to look in your camera, and I want you to talk to superintendent. He's new. He's getting all this information from his board, because you know how sometimes people will speak against you and they'll never come to you. They'll just believe them. Well, you're going to have an opportunity right here on the Ella Johnson Show to state your case for yourself, by yourself, to him right now.
Well, I'll be like the people in the church. The work I've done has already spoke for me.
Yes, it has.
Yep.
So what more could I do? I could go higher. I mean, you can't get any lower. I mean, nothing was gonna happen but improvements. There were so many things, and I have a vision book that I keep. I kept this when I was a teacher. I kept it when I was an AP. There were so many things that I had planned to do with the students at MCHS. It was more than about them. It was about their future, to make things better for them. And so, like I said, I always think of how you treat people's children. You want people to treat your child the same way. I wanted no more for them than I wanted for my own child.
Yes.
Man.
And so there were so many things that I wanted to implement and wanted to do. And now, since I've been given the chance to be the school improvement specialist for the district, part of that vision, I'm trying to help give everybody school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to help make the whole district better. Miss Watson can tell you, between me and the curriculum director, we've been on those principals this year, and they have been on those teachers. I mean, they have expressed, hey, we've
That's
only
good.
been 2 months in, and it's like it's the end of the year. Y'all are really on us this year because we want them to be better,
And I
we
know the
know they
curriculum.
can be better.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of local teachers and administrators in Monroe County Public Schools. It makes no sense for us to be an average school district.
Well, you and the curriculum director, y'all make a good team. I know who you're talking about. Y'all make a
Yeah.
great team.
Mhm.
Y'all make a great team.
Did you see Mandy's comment there? She was saying that when you left, the morale at the school went down.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel to hear that?
You know, I thought when I left, that I would be the one that would need consoling. But when I left and I went back and I visited and I talked to kids and I talked to the staff, they needed me more than I needed them. And that really touched my heart because I
Aw.
didn't realize it was that much of an impact.
Oh,
But
you
I, and
never
I,
really understand it till you're gone.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Now, Kim has a question here. We kind of touched on it, Kim, but I
Yeah.
want you to respond to him. Was it sabotaged intentionally?
I believe so from the beginning, from the interview, because nobody else's interview was set up that way. I believe it was that way from the beginning.
I'm mad about that thing. That just, like my nephew used to say, that just bothered my spirit. That they had the mayor and Percy Parker sitting in an interview with you deciding your fate.
Right.
That there is no, y'all miss me with that. There's nothing you can say to make me understand that. I don't have any understanding about that. Crystal says that what happened to you was gender bias, procedural fairness, and potential discrimination.
Mm-hmm. I
You
believe
feel
that.
like you feel like you were discriminated against?
Definitely. I'm the only female administrator that has ever been in the principal position at County High. There has never been one. And I'm the first Black. So yes, and yes.
Yeah, but you were being interviewed by Blacks.
Right.
So it wasn't because you were Black.
And a panel that was nobody else's panel.
So it was because you're a woman and because you stood for something.
Right.
Okay. Well, you made your appeal. Now let's talk to the Alumni Association, because that's what this was about. Some of it was about the Alumni Association, because everyone has spoken their grievances about the Alumni Association, whether to me, indirectly or directly. So we've talked about it a little bit tonight. I understand, Pamela, that you're thinking about starting a new one. It's going to depend on what happens with this meeting that you may or may not have with the current Alumni Association, because they would like to, you guys come together. So I'm sorry, what were you trying to say, Pamela?
Nothing. I thought I had a call that came in and I thought it had interrupted.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's talk about, because I can talk to you, but I can't talk to you upside down, girl.
Your phone keeps going upside
I mean,
down.
I've done a lot of things on this show, but upside down, I will make it work. But anyway, so let's talk about it, because I and this is real. I want you guys to say exactly what you feel, because that's the only way this is going to change. Now, if we need to scrap the whole one and start over, so be it, whatever. But I want you to, what is it that we need them, because they're still out there, they're still asking for donations. What do we need from the Alumni Association? I'm going to start with you this time, LaTanya, on that one. What do you want to see them do better?
Well, for us, the Alumni Association, that's now new officers. That's the only way you're going to get people to buy back into the association, is you're going to have to get rid of the officers that they have now, especially the president, because I feel like that's where the problem started, with the president. Because if you're in an organization and you want to make all the decisions without having the input of the members, what's the purpose of having the members? And that's where we're at now. No members, because you have one or two people making all the decisions. So if the association want to get going again, you're going to have to select new officers and start basically from scratch with new bylaws. Everything is going to have to be restarted.
Okay. Pamela?
Yes, I agree with everything that Tanya said. The new officers would be the first thing. And I want to tell the public that if y'all have, like I've heard people say, well, what are they doing with the money? I would suggest them go to a meeting. I don't know where they have the meetings at, and ask them, because they are an alumni. They might not be a member, paying member, but only thing they won't be able to do is vote. But they can see what they've done with the money. They can ask for a record of where the money that they raised at these events, what they did with it. I don't know what they did with it. I don't know anything about the association after I left. But I'm just saying, if they really want to know, ask them. Because that's what I plan on doing. I plan on asking them.
They're not gonna give you an answer because they're gonna say you're not a member.
But we still still need to know. We still have a right to know what they did with it. Only thing we can't do is vote, and that was in the bylaws. Now they may have changed the bylaws that we wrote the first time. I'm sure they have, but Ella, yes, I've been asked to form another one, and I'm willing to, because what we did with the first one, it would have been great. And we talked with Miss Howard about when she was principal. She let us meet at the school a couple of times to form the new one, but it didn't really take off the way that it should have, because I guess put it in the back burner. But now that I've had so many people say, let's do this, I'm willing to start another one. And I'm willing to do it the right way. We have people that are willing to help us to get the bylaws done. We have people that are willing to do the 501c. We have people that are willing to show us exactly what we need to do in order to get this done. We have a lot of great ideas in order to raise money for the alumni. A lot of great ideas in which we plan on, if we do get this one started, the proceeds would go to high school, and we would tell them, this is for the baseball team, this is for the basketball team, this is for academics. We're not only focusing on sports, but also academics. So yes, I would love to start a new one if this one right here can't get straight. And I doubt if it gets straight because we know who's the president, and we couldn't tell him nothing then. So I know we can't tell him anything now. So
well, here's the deal. Here's the truth. Percy doesn't have as much power as you think, because they're a 501c3, so they're bound by certain rules.
Yes.
Let's make that clear. They're not just an organization out here doing things all willy-nilly. They have a responsibility to the 501c3 and to the rules for a charitable organization. And that's what Crystal is saying here. You do not have to be a member to know about where the funding and donations are going.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting what you want, then you go to the state. End of story. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it behind closed doors. We don't even have to talk about it on this show. But there are things you can do if you want to know. We don't have to wait on him to come and sit with us and show us anything. You can go to the state. They're taking your donations, then they're obligated to you for that money. Or don't give your money, because he has no power if nobody's paying. You want to take his power? That's how you do it. Not saying I'm promoting that, but that's just, it is what it is.
Well, just like, it was stated that I was the first one, my class was the first one to give for the tailgate. Yes, I did. We because this is our 40th class reunion, and every year we've had a tailgate, and we wanted our class members. We have over 60 members that are coming. We want our class members to be able to enjoy what we have been enjoying over the years. Now, for as funding and stuff, I was like, I don't know what they're doing with the funding. All I know is that we want to get out there, and we want to see our class members. I advocated for everybody to give money to buy a ticket and go in the game. Last year, some of my classmates didn't go in the game, but we gave a donation. Right. We went to the gate and gave a donation. We don't want the tickets. This is just a donation from our class. And I'm advocating for every class to do the same thing. But we want people to go inside the game so that they can see that they got that support. Which my class plan on going inside the game this year and watching the game.
I will definitely be there. I will not be participating in the tailgate at all, but I will definitely be at the game to support the kids and use the concession stand. I'll pay to park, whatever way we can. But we'll definitely give a donation that night as well, directly to the school. Right. I just want us to be able to restore our trust in our alma mater, guys. I don't want to have to keep having shows like this and nothing is getting done. The purpose of this. Now, one thing Crystal did say earlier, she said we need an outcry for Miss Howard. I don't think there's a person watching this is not happy about what happened to you. I don't think that there's anyone. And I want to ask Mandy, because I know Mandy's been commenting. She's a teacher at the high school. And what if a lot of people got together, Miss Howard, and petitioned the school board to put you back in that position because of their outcry and their, they don't like what they've heard about how you were treated, because now the school board is going to know that you've talked about how you were treated in that interview. First of all, are you afraid about that? Are you afraid that you disclose that here today and that they may see it?
No, because as I said earlier, the Lord told me to use my voice, and that's what I plan on doing. He guides me. He tells me what to say and what not to say, when to listen, when to discern. So everything I've said tonight is public because I said it before.
Okay, so, no. Sounds good. All right. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about getting a petition together to talk to the school board about what happened to Miss Howard? Who feels comfortable doing that? Do you guys feel comfortable doing that?
I mean, yeah, because she wasn't done right.
She definitely wasn't done right. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you, Shields is really Miss Crew. This baby is on it. She is like, the hell with all that, Ella. We want her over here, right? But you're currently at Shields right now. Why are you? How did you end up being the principal, the interim principal over there? What happened to their principal?
I'm still serving as school improvement specialist. So the principal has resigned, and part of my school improvement, being a school improvement specialist, is to help all the schools. So with Shields being a turnaround school and with their school report card grade, I was up there anyway. So I would go a couple of days a week, and I would still service the other schools in Monroe County in the morning part, spend the rest of the week up there in between. But now I'm there all the time since the principal has resigned. So I'm there every day.
So little birdie, tell me, why did she resign? Was she forced to resign?
Well,
I ain't trying to be messy.
Can't really say because it's current. So
I can't wait for you guys to find out why she resigned.
I can't either.
Yeah. And we're laughing because we all know, right?
Yeah.
Right? Miss me with that. So Crystal wants to know, when did this happen to Miss Howard? When did this happen to you?
When I was transferred. That was in February of 2024 when I found out that it was going to happen. My last appeal was in May of 2024.
So this happened more than 180 days ago?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did the interview occur more than 180 days ago? The answer, I know why Crystal's asking those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because, okay, let me ask you a question. Would you be willing to take this further? Or are you just saying, look, Ella, let the Lord handle it? He'll handle it how he wants, how he sees fit. Where are you on that?
I actually like what I'm doing now as school improvement specialist because I see it as an opportunity to do to handle unfinished business. I can say it like that. The vision that I had when I was at county high, it was just at county high, and now I can help, further that vision everywhere. But again, the leadership of the building, it depends on how far they will push what we push out from the central office. So I like what I'm doing. I like the nature of helping all of the other schools, and I'm a natural helper. That's what I do. I'm a servant. So I really like that, but I love the kids at County High, and I love the ones at Shield. So I like being in the school setting, and I mean, hey, it's a win-win with what I'm doing now because I'm getting to help everybody.
I would love to see somebody write a grant to give you funds for a private school. I would. And I'm going to tell you something, Miss Howard. Think big. God is a big God.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't, I think that he used you in this sense. It had to happen this way. I want you to think about that. It had to happen this way.
I believe so.
I really, that's all I keep hearing as you're talking. I'm hearing it happened. It had to happen this way. He set you up, but he's not done. So I want you, you know what? I want to, before we get out of here tonight, because we are going to get out of here, guys. I know I kept y'all longer than I was supposed to. The truth is, don't ever believe me when I say it's going to be 2 hours. Nobody believes that. But you guys were newbies, so you believed me. So here's the thing. I want to end the show praying for the school system. And I wish Stephanie was on here. Get me a preacher on the mic. But God hears us all. But it's important for us to get some stuff out of our system so that he will hear from us. Okay. So I want to make it very clear that this show was not to bash, talk about, put down, point fingers, but we had to have this conversation because we got to do better, guys. Right. We got to do better. Yeah. It's gone too far. This petty, childish stuff with, well, I'm not going to let her get the job because I don't like how she talked to my kid. Well, if your kid was acting a certain kind of way, it's her job to discipline them. Okay? Because if that had been a cop, he'd been in jail or dead right now. So you should be glad that she is trying to prevent your child from staring down the face of a gun one day that would take their life because they don't know how to respect elders. And then on top of that, you guys make it worse by coming out there and acting a fool yourselves. You know, when Crystal was on the show, we talked a lot about how parents care themselves. There was a time back in the day, if your parent was seen in the hallways, they would be like, girl, I think I saw your mama. And you are scared. Like, what? What she had on?
Yep.
What, for real? You know? These kids are like, yeah, call my mama. I don't care. She ain't gonna do that. And they know she's gonna come out there and cuss the teacher out. And they think that's cute. You're setting your child up for failure. Okay. And I think we got to do better. And the reason this is so new and so different for us, because growing up in County High, all of us did, with the exception of the one that went to our rival school. Just saying. You know, I knew that we had a friendly rivalry with Shields, but it was never like we were better. That's not how I looked at it. It was just fun. Because a lot of County High people, when it was time for your band to play, come on now, Pam, you know we went to the other side, didn't we? Come on now.
We did, child. We did.
Billy Ray, when he was out there showing out. Oh, okay. I didn't think I was the only one.
Yeah.
It was a friendly competition, but it's time now.
And I like some of the boys on the football team too. So
okay, can you tell me which ones?
I can't tell y'all that now.
Listen, I had one at every school too, so I ain't worried about it. I mean, we had this. Okay, you're saying too much. All right, so Crystal says Marva Collins did it, and Mrs. Howard can too. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Crystal. Marva Collins did it. So God has called you here for a reason. And let me tell you, I reached out to you because I didn't even know who the principal was at high school. And Yolanda Knight said, oh, it's Chitunda Howard. And I reached out to you because I wanted you to assist us with our event. And you were like, oh, no, baby, I'm not the principal. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And then we got to talking. And now I got to know more about this beautiful soul that we have sitting here. And we have to support you and pray with you, pray for you, that God will give you wisdom and knowledge to know what to do next. Not in a malicious way, but in a way that serves him and continues his goal for your life. So I want, before we get out of here, I want us to pray, guys, real quick for our school system. Our Father, which art in heaven, Father of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Lord, we come to you today with a heart asking you to please be with the school system in Monroe County. We have to pray for our leaders, Lord. We have to pray that they will look at these children, look at this situation and the vision of Monroe County through your lenses. We ask that you bless all the teachers, protect them, give them wisdom, give them boldness. We pray that our churches and everybody in the community gets involved to be able to bring to fruition what we need for this school system. Lord, we ask that you forgive us where we've fallen short. Build us up. where we need to be built up so that we can all be a part of the success that I know you have planned for Monroe County. These and other blessings we ask in thy son Jesus' name. Amen.
In the name of Jesus, amen.
Man.
So I want final words before we get out of here, guys. Let me see what Crystal's saying here. One person. Crystal should have just been on the show, shouldn't she?
Should you have? She just gave up.
Yeah.
You should just send her a link.
I know, right? One person can start a private school in Alabama if they meet the legal, educational, and operational requirements. Alabama law does not prohibit individuals from founding private schools and many small schools, especially religious or alternative education models. Begin with a single educator or founder. So Crystal is giving you some gems, Ms. Howard. We all stand behind you. Whatever you need from me, the Ella Johnson Show, I am here. If you want to come back, if you want to, talk about this new school. Thank you, Edith. Even though you're trying to take Ms. Howard, I love you, baby. But it's all in fun. But seriously, go, guys. What's our next step? What's next for you, Ms. Howard? What's next for you?
I don't know. Like I said, I like what I'm doing now, and this has really opened up the chance for me to explore other options.
There we go.
So I can't put on the table what I'll be doing next year. I like where I'm at, but like I said, the Lord has said think higher. So,
all right, LaTanya, last words from you before we go.
Just everybody support the kids, and we have to work together to do what's best to make County High better, and basically the whole district needs to come together.
Right.
All right. And Miss Pamela, last words from you before we go.
I would just like to say that I would thank everybody that has been listening, and Monroe County High School alumni, watch out, because we're gonna get this association together, and we're gonna support our schools. So be looking for something from me soon. Okay, we're gonna do this thing.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. And you can come back to the Ella Johnson Show when you get that together, so that we can, because I'm going to ask you some questions, and they may be tough questions. Why are you different? You already know, right? That I'm going to, but you know what? I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for the people, so that they can have trust and faith that you're going to do different, and that it's going to be better the second time around. Okay?
That's right. And we want everybody's opinion. We want everybody's
Absolutely.
opinion.
Absolutely. See, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for tuning into the Ella Johnson Show. I am going to bring the show back again tonight at 8:30 for anyone that has missed this and would like to see it again. Now, obviously, you're not going to be live because we were live now. However, we definitely will bring it back for those of you. Holding you to it, Mrs. Pam. All right.
Okay. I'm going to do it.
All right, now. Listen, I'm telling you.
Okay.
I know you will, Pam, because I know you personally, and I know that you're a woman of integrity and that you have a heart County High, just like a lot of us do.
Yes,
so
I love my alma mater.
That's why I got the shirt on. Y'all look at this.
I do. I love my alma mater. I want the best for them. So
that's right. Once a tiger, always a tiger. Wait, all right, guys, we're gonna get out of here.
I can find my shirt. I just wore Alabama State, okay? But anyway.
Okay. I see everybody representing. All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. I love you all, my sisters.
Love you all
Thank
too.
you all for being guests here today.
Thank you.
For watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Ella Johnson Show. You guys have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
Johnson Show.